What's going on, guys? As slop season winds down, we are back here once again to talk about the center of attention, the slop goat himself. Doesn't really get enough credit, in my opinion, for generating so much slop over the course of his career. You might know him as the greatest basketball player of all time. Of course, I'm talking about one Lebron James.
I thought we were talking Mike Conley. Anyway, okay. I thought it was Mike Conley, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say the guy from Ohio, who is known for being drafted in the 2000s.
He's spent 20 plus years in the league. Former All-Star.
with an asterisk, little asterisk next to his name.
Similar amount of All-Stars to LeBron James. You can see how he'd get confused.
Yeah. Of course, I always, when I think about the two greats, I think LeBron and Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I want to be like Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I want to play with Greg Oden.
There is a podcaster out there who thinks about Mike Conley just as much as they think about Michael Jordan. So I don't think that we're too far off there. But I just want to talk about basically all of the shitstorm that's going down with LeBron. We got the windy fingers back. What's going on with LeBron James? This is really the first time that we've kind of had no real clue on where LeBron was going to land. Even if you go back to, you listen to our episode that we did on the decision last offseason, where we revisited his first free agency that he ever did. By the time that came around, we knew he wasn't going back to Cleveland. And we kind of thought it was coming down to Miami or the Knicks, it felt like. Basically, by the time we got around to the night of the decision itself and he was actually doing the event, he didn't even tell Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade that he was going to Miami until earlier in the day. Windhorst talked about that and how that LeBron has been very secretive every time he goes, but there's always been these tea leaves, right? Like, obviously 24 hours before he went back to Cleveland in 2014, he had they had a meeting with Gordon Hayward and they were going to sign him in free agency or give him an offer sheet because he was restricted free agent, and then they had to withdraw that because LeBron was like, hey, by the way, I'm coming back. Don't actually go ahead and sign him. And then 2018, there was leaks for a year that he was going to LA. And that was more of a business decision, quote unquote. I think that you could make the argument there were better teams for basketball reasons to go to. And honestly, I think that's kind of what we'll talk about today, because it feels like all we've been hearing is the basketball part of this. And I just don't fully buy that personally. LeBron James is LeBron James. And I know I've said it before on the podcast. One of the reasons I'm skeptical he would ever play for the Sixers is because LeBron is going to want to live where LeBron wants to live. He's not just going to live in a random place, even though teams like Minnesota and Denver and Philly are technically in the race, quote unquote. I think there is a lot of different aspects that need to be taken into consideration here. Having said that, it does sound like basketball fit is going to be more important for him, mainly because of what just happened with the Lakers, I think. The last few years with the Lakers where they weren't really ever contending. He had a fallout with the front office. They moved into a different direction. Rich Paul, I don't know if you've listened at all to any of these clips, but Rich Paul's basically been bitching kind of nonstop about how LeBron was a third option to Luka and Austin Reeves the last 2 years. And I don't think LeBron wants to go to a place where he's more of an afterthought, but it's also one of those things where you have to balance the two, right? Because LeBron doesn't want to try in the regular season anymore, which he's 41 going on 42. He probably shouldn't waste his energy trying in December and January, but you can't also go somewhere, get all the credit, and then just not try unless that team has a real infrastructure, which it seems like these teams, that the last three being Cleveland, Miami, and the Sixers, are kind of that's the general pitch with those teams is Miami has the culture, Bam and Giannis and Spo. The Cavs have the team that just made the conference finals without him. And then the Sixers just traded for Jaylen Brown. They got more available. They got younger. And they signed some depth pieces in Dean Wade and Anthony Simons this offseason. So the pitch is basically, you don't need to try until the playoffs. And then if you do get to the playoffs, you can take over, do your LeBron James thing from time to time. And by the way, you're still probably going to get a decent amount of credit no matter where you go, because you are LeBron, and all of these teams desperately need him, I feel like, is what I'm trying to get at here. Like, to take them from being good teams to great teams, I think they all kind of need LeBron.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're all in like a similar situation, like, because he's won enough now. He doesn't have to worry about winning, which you just talked about. Like, he's very famous. He doesn't want to live anywhere where he can't, you know, he has to live in a famous person place. And yeah, all of those teams are kind of like strong playoff teams. Like, I'd be very surprised if any of those teams didn't make the playoffs. But they're also not
in
contenders.
The Demon East, though. You've been on this for a while, and I feel like it's gotten even stronger.
I do think I think if LeBron is there, like, I think Miami with Giannis, I mean, the Giannis thing makes them such a boom bust thing.
Yeah,
I would be very surprised if they get 40 healthy games out of Giannis if they don't at least make the play-in.
Sure.
You know, like, so. And if you add LeBron James, I think LeBron would probably have the biggest impact on the Miami Heat because they're just so
top heavy.
Yeah, well, they just don't. Yeah, I was gonna say they just don't have guys. Like, you know, I think
traded half their roster for Giannis.
If you wanted to like maximize his role, like, I think that would probably be the spot to do that, because like Giannis, I mean, Giannis would be the best player on that team, but I don't know if Giannis I don't know if Giannis wants to like be pounding the rock or be like a high usage guy anymore. I think if he's leaving, I think he kind of wants to like be part of something and just like chill out and like make money and have a cool life. Like,
I was gonna say, I thought that it was more like, let's have the kind of similar to what the Sixers did with Embiid last year. Yeah. Obviously, Giannis should play more games if he can, because he doesn't have like. I actually was doing a little bit of propaganda earlier, and I was like, Joel Embiid has played 22 playoff games since 2023, and Giannis has only played 8. But there's always the fear with Joel that it could just be over. And with Giannis, I don't think the fear is that it could be over. It's just that can the team that has him, whether it's the Bucks or Miami, have enough to get by without him and keep him fresh for when the games matter? The answer with the Bucks was definitively no. The answer with Miami this year is a little bit of a question mark to me.
Yeah,
like
it's we're gonna have to see that this is gonna be a season that's really gonna test their Uruk-hai birthing pits of white guys who can shoot, like the Saruman, like fucking egg sack. What was the guy NB made up, that the white guy that NB made up a while ago?
My God, years ago.
Yeah, I years ago.
Well, you have Caleb Grill on your summer league team, and that's always the guy that I always am like, that is just a generically generated name that could be on the Miami Heat.
Mike Weiss, Timothy Grink. Timothy Grink is about to have a 40% three-point shooting. Dude, Tim Grink was honestly like kind of nails for Creighton, and it's kind of crazy that nobody like picked him up. Like,
he's going Grink mode is what they always used to say.
Was the Grink there? Yes, he was on the summer league team, and we didn't sign him.
And then Miami got him.
Yeah, they gooped on the Grinch. Bodies and spaces, goop on your Grink. I mean, Caleb.
Hold on. Bodies and spacing.
Bodies and space. Here we go. No, I mean, goop on your Grink. They are gonna have to. They're gonna have to goop some Grinks. They're gonna have 900 Ryan Grinks. This is gonna test it, because they genuinely do need to like come up with like legitimately like 4 rotation players out of nothing, which is crazy. Yeah.
We as you can see here, they have broke the mold with Ryan Conwell, who sounds like he could be a white shooter, but is not a white shooter, that they just got in the second round. So
I kind of liked him. The rumor was the Celtics really liked him with their second round pick, and Miami took him way earlier than that. Like
going into summer league, going into the draft and in summer league, I'm saying this for basketball reasons and not other reasons. I am so shocked that Emmanuel Sharp is not a Miami Heat. He is like the most Miami Heat coded player.
Who got him?
He's on the Kings.
Interesting.
He's been cooking. Like he is. I mean, to be fair, maybe they thought a little bit of redundancy with the Davion Mitchell type because Davion is someone who will have the ball more, run more offense and stuff. But like just like a small point of attack defender who can make open shots and keep the ball moving as the general idea. But like the thing about this Miami team versus in the past is that they normally can have. And we talked about this a little bit. Like the first year LeBron went there, they needed a transaction cycle to get their team right.
Right.
This happens whenever you trade half your roster for a superstar like Giannis. Yeah. Right. And I know that they can scrounge together your Bobby Portises and your Tim Hardaway Juniors and stuff, but I do think that these last few years is that having guys in their prime has been a little bit more important in these playoffs. Like in terms of keeping guys healthy to the end, like both of those guys are in their 30s now and might be able to contribute at some point in the regular season. But I don't know if these are guys that you're going to want to count on deep into the playoffs. But like you said, LeBron going to Miami, he would instantly take them from like honestly, I think you could make the argument they're like a play-in range team right now. And I would probably project them somewhere in the regular season to be like 5 to 9 seed in this East.
I actually have a bet with Matt about this. After they got Giannis, we made a month-long username bet. He said that Miami was going to be top 4 in the regular season.
Oh wow!
I said no way. I feel pretty comfortable with that, but I'm also very nervous because having Matt in control of my username my screen name would be very bad.
You could actually have to be removed from the podcast based on what.
I was gonna say, you might have to unaffiliate yourself with me for like a little bit. Like, I might just have to sell the account if I lose that bet. Like.
Log into Twitter one day and Sam's just posting about like Claude AI. And he's changed his name to like Elon Musk fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm hoping he'll take it easy on me if he wins, because that would be kind of tame. I'm a little nervous about that. But
I meant if you sold the account. I meant if you sold the account, because it feels all these guys that sell their accounts just always become crypto grifters.
Well, a friend of the pod and our friend for the Bill Simmons thing, Richard Normal, he is now a blue checkmark guy, and he paid Elon Musk. This is true. He paid Elon Musk to do that. He paid Elon Musk money to do that because he wanted to engage with more users on X, the everything site.
I would never do that, by the way.
He's logged on. So everyone, reach out to Richard Normal if you're on the things. Congratulate him on the blue check mark. If you want to go ahead,
wait, did someone buy it for him against his will, or did it automatically verify him?
No, it's some weird. This was happening to a lot of people, not just Richard. But
this is incredible.
It happened to Richard first. It's a really good troll. I'm going to be honest. It's
incredible.
It's a really good troll to buy someone a blue check mark. But that's not what's going on with Richard, because he likes it. He likes Elon Musk. He likes doing that. So if you want to help out our pal Richard Normal, buy him a blue check mark. Let's keep this going.
W's in the chat for Richard.
Yeah, for Richard. Go at Richard_normal. Buy him that check mark. Let's go.
But I honestly, when I saw that, I kind of assumed that someone was fucking with him, but I didn't follow up and ask him.
It was like just some weird. I don't know what they're doing. Like, they're doing something weird. It's some fucking scam thing. But it's a good like prank to pull on your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. We fully encourage giving your money to
give your money
to fuck with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, I gave Alan Dershowitz money to fuck with Sixers fans, so we I don't really have a leg to stand on.
And nothing has happened since then that has backfired on you related to it.
No. Ethically, I'm in the clear.
No, you're good.
You're good.
So I'm really mad that KOC got this take out there before I could, because he said it yesterday on his podcast, and I was like, God damn it, I wanted to be the first person. Are we sure LeBron to the Cavs is a good basketball fit?
No, it's not. It's a bad
Like,
basketball fit, I think.
I've thought about this a lot, and like once again, I agreed with what KOC said. Speaking of Elon Musk, I agreed with what KOC said.
You agree with everything he's ever said.
Yeah, I'm
apparently
just I'm co-signing every opinion apparently.
Yeah.
But the thing that he said that I agreed with was, if LeBron just wants to go back home because he wants to go back home, that's cool, whatever. That's a cool story. Sure. Retire at home. Last year. By the way, I don't know if it's his last year. I think that he's signing a 2-year contract wherever he goes, and he'll make his decision after this. But the thing that he said was, if you want to go back and have the storybook ending and all that, even though you kind of already had that in 2016, just go back and do it. That's fine. Like, it's your life. Do whatever you want. But if you want to talk about from a basketball perspective, yes, they did just make the conference finals, but it wasn't exactly an easy path. In terms of like the teams that they beat to get there. Like the Pistons almost lost in round 1, and then they beat them in 7. And then the Raptors, who just got Kawhi Leonard and got much better, are a team that really should not have been in that series. Like the Cavs should have taken care of business and won that series. They didn't. They got to the conference finals. No shade on that at all. They absolutely deserved it. But the point here being that this Cavs team would obviously be better if they had LeBron James. But if you look at that roster, who's defending point of attack on that team? Who's spacing the floor on that team? What is James Harden doing when he doesn't have the ball? What is Donovan Mitchell doing when he doesn't have the ball? You're starting 2 bigs, so that already is weird spacing wise. And you might be able to make that function with kind of like what they did when they had a 5th starter in Dean Wade, who's mainly just a spacer and a defender and a dirty work guy. And LeBron is obviously infinitely better at basketball, but we have seen, in terms of maximizing teams and reaching ceilings, like championship level ceilings, normally everyone has to have a role that they fit on the team, even if there are multiple stars in a lineup. And if you do this, all 5 of those guys are obviously going to start because they're by far the 5 best players on the team. And then what happens with like all of the little things, like who's guarding the best player on the other team? You know, who's doing like like, I know, obviously, I'm not just saying this because the Sixers got Dean Wade, because I do think he's a regular season merchant. And I don't think that he can play deep into the playoffs really all that much anyway. But like LeBron is not guarding those guys at this age. Donovan Mitchell is not guarding those guys. Harden is not guarding those guys. So like Evan Mobley then becomes basically your only kind of perimeter defender in the starting 5. And you would ideally have him as a help and rim protector guy, because that's what maximizes him, right? So my whole thing on this has been, I think that they would just by default be a really good team. Like they'd be a top 3 seed, and they might even make the conference finals again. Hell, maybe they even make a finals appearance. I'm just skeptical that team, for reasons that I'm skeptical of other teams like Miami, I don't even know if they have enough. And then the Sixers, it's the Joel Embiid health question mark thing. But I just don't love the basketball fit in general. Like, I don't really get the Harden LeBron fit, even though they're both really good. It just seems a little bit redundant. And then on top of that, you have the fact that they're starting double bigs. The spacing's weird. They don't have any sort of point of attack defense, which was already a weakness of theirs on that roster in general. The latest news that we heard is that they're trying to clear some money to get Kuminga, but then like what happens there? Like, does Kuminga start and Kuminga becomes your version of like Andrew Wiggins with the Warriors, which by the way, he didn't want to do on the Warriors. He was already on the Warriors. And then you're making him the like point of attack guy. And like, maybe he can buy into that role and do it. I'm skeptical he's going to want to do it a year removed from when he thought he was going to be an all-star. And I'm just wondering all these things. Like, does that make it so that you're playing small? LeBron's at the 4, Mobley's at the 5, and you have Jared Allen coming off the bench. Like, I just don't get how that team functions, even though obviously the basketball talent would just be out of this world in terms of the actual individual players. I'm just skeptical of the fit. And Miami, I'm skeptical of the fit, obviously, because the spacing is just weird. Like, Giannis is not a non-shooter completely. Bam is barely a shooter. Like, Bam shoots, but it's not a threat. Bam is just someone that is just kind of not really taken all that seriously as a spacing threat. And then LeBron's an improved shooter, but he's not a knockdown guy by any means. And he's probably going to have the ball a decent amount, so he's going to want guys who can space off of the ball. So anyway, since Sam is not pushing back here, the Philadelphia 76ers are the best fit for LeBron James, and he should sign on the dotted line today.
Kind of. You guys need a fucking power forward. Like,
Dean Wade disrespect.
The issue is that I think he would be an afterthought again, and I don't think LeBron James wants that. That's the issue with the Sixers fit, is he's got 2, maybe 3 players on that roster who are going to be better at him than basketball this coming year.
I've heard this argument, and I'm going to say something that might shock people because I've been calling LeBron washed for years. Mm-hmm. This version of Joel Embiid, this version of Jaylen Brown, this version of Tyrese Maxey.
I didn't mean Embiid, by the way.
Okay, well, Jaylen Brown and Max. VJ is not. I look. You know I love VJ.
I don't know.
If year 2 I will absolutely be owned. I want to be clear.
Yeah.
If year 2 VJ is a top 25 player in the NBA, then
get ready, buckle up, buddy. But get ready.
But even if he is, hear me out. Like, let's say he takes the step and I've seen the clips from the Bahamas games. Like, the 3-point shot looks quicker. He's shooting 11 for 20 in those games. He's going to come back and be better. I'm not doubting that. Yeah. But year 2, sophomore year, I wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 50 player next year. I would be pretty shocked if he's top 25. And I'd definitely be shocked if he's a better on-ball player than LeBron James. And the on-ball stuff, and the reason why LeBron is so important to all of these teams is that outside of the Cavs, I feel like they're all a little bit deficient in playmaking, and LeBron is obviously the best playmaking 4 of all time and would help basically any team that he could go to in that regard. But it does feel like of these 3 teams that we've discussed, that the Sixers, if Joel Embiid was healthy, which, by the way, we've been saying for 6 years, like, if Joel Embiid was healthy, sure, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? Like, basketball fit-wise. In reality, Jaylen Brown's coming off the highest usage season of his career. I know Tyrese Maxey has said he wants to play off the ball more, and he would be given opportunities throughout the course of the season to play with the ball more. But I know that he's talked about wanting to be kind of on and off the ball more because he wasn't really off the ball nearly enough last year, which is really where truly he is a weapon. He's one of the best off-ball scorers in the NBA, and they weren't able to get him those opportunities as much last year because they just needed to force him into an on-ball role. And Joel Embiid, whenever he is healthy, you're not getting the most out of it. It's kind of similar to the Harden thing with Embiid, where it's like, you're not getting the most out of Joel Embiid unless he has the ball all the time. And by the way, him having the ball all the time is probably still the best way to use him because obviously if you got LeBron, it would be different, but he is by far the best passer playmaker as a hub on this team right now. And I do wonder if my thing with the Embiid thing with LeBron is the only thing that I think that I've been kind of might keep him holding back is one, we just talked about, like, Jaylen coming off the best year of his career, Maxey coming off the best year of his career. He just said he didn't want to take a backseat to Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. Would he be willing to take a little bit of a backseat to those guys plus Joel Embiid when he's healthy? But I guess the argument back to that would be like, VJ and Maxey are going to play off the ball. They're going to do some dirty work stuff in a way that most others, like, their motor is just like higher. They're younger. They're very athletic. They're going to run in the open court. That's going to be basketball poetry when you can get rebounds and outlet passes and all that stuff. Jaylen was one of the best transition players in the NBA last year. Maxey was one of the best transition players in the NBA last year. So was LeBron. So there's definitely a fit to be pitched. I'm just skeptical because of the Anthony Davis experience that happened prior to Luka and Reeves, that LeBron would be like, yeah, sign me up for an often not available center in Joel Embiid. But obviously having LeBron there would help the Sixers. Like, I've been saying, like, I think that the Sixers floor, we talked about with Miami, their floor not being the safest just because Giannis's recent injury stuff, and then combined with the fact that they just made that massive trade, the Sixers floor also isn't great because you drop from Joel Embiid to one of Adem Bona and Ariel Hukporti, who have never played even high-level backup minutes in the NBA. Like, Hukporti's played 9 minutes a game in his career so far, per game. And Bona has played like 15. We kind of had to force him the season before, and it was a disaster. And there is a way that floor can fall out. Now, with both of these teams, LeBron going there makes you not worry about that at all, because it's like, all right, well, we have 3 guys or 4 guys that can make up for the loss of if anyone goes down on this team. But I view the none of the situations as perfect. And I think that LeBron making this decision based on floor rather than ceiling might end up being a mistake, just because I've just been saying, like, I think that the ceiling with any of these teams could be ridiculous, but I do think that you're basically hoping for the pieces to fall into, kind of the right place no matter where you go. And the odds of you winning a championship, even from the East, which people view as like the weaker conference for whatever reason, it still doesn't feel super high even with this version of LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, like, I guess the thing where we have to start with is, like, how washed is LeBron James? And how much of this was like him not being engaged on a Lakers team that was like basically stopped trying to please him like 3 or 4 years ago, and has been kind of just like treading water, like from a talent like perspective, like
for 3 years.
They don't have a thing, and it's like LeBron didn't look good last year. Like, how much of that is still there, and how much of that was just him being kind of annoyed?
Well, the thing that I do every year is I go, well, LeBron looks washed in October, November, December. Mm-hmm. And then the second half of the year, he starts to take it a little bit more seriously. And then he wins the multiple playoff games. Like I know that Houston team didn't have Kevin Durant. They were flawed and all that, blah, blah, blah. But they just got rid of their entire starting 5, which is fucking insane in itself. And LeBron was, for most of that series, their best player.
Yeah.
And they won a playoff series, which, once again, I always go back to the James Harden thing, like when he talked about like not wanting to take a back seat, but it's kind of all you can do when you're this age, right? Like, because no one is going to build their team around a late 30s, early 40s guy, because the regular season is just impossible to survive now. Like, it is just, you cannot survive the regular season if you're building your entire identity around these helio-type guys that need the ball all the time, but also aren't going to be engaged for 82 straight games and can't run your entire offense for you all the time, because it's just not realistic. So I guess my whole thing with this is I've just kind of landed on, like, I think it's probably Cleveland. And if it isn't Cleveland, I do wonder if Cleveland has something up their sleeve. I've been going a little bit like psycho mode on this, where I'm like, is Cleveland just going to pull off something that makes their team make more sense? Whether it's like trading Jared Allen and then putting Evan Mobley at the 5, or maybe trading. It's not likely. I want to be clear here. We're at the point of slop season where my mind is just running wild with this shit. It's not likely, but they technically can sign and trade James Harden. And the latest like thought that has been thrown out there is like, what if they did a sign and trade with Dallas, sent Dallas James Harden with picks, and they got Kyrie back? Because once again, I still don't think that lineup makes a ton of sense. But
man, Harden with the Mavericks is really interesting. Sorry, I don't even like care about the Cleveland thing. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I finally go. My mind immediately went to like James Harden with Cooper Flag. Like,
I mean, they don't have their picks, so
yeah,
like,
why not?
Why not? And their whole team is just forwards and bigs at this point. Like, they don't. have like Kyrie's really the only functional guard on that team right now. And then
the junior Nemhard, by the way, but go on.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sergio De La Rey, the guy they just drafted. Isn't that his
name? I also kind of like him, to be totally honest, but
but he's like 19 or 20, so I don't know how much
he's not going to have much, do much this year. Yeah.
But the point that I was getting at here was like, because I'm just skeptical that LeBron is going to want to play with Harden at this stage, just because what I talked about, like they're both best with the ball. Their skill sets are maximized when they have the ball. They've both not wanted to take a back seat in the past. And I think that could go a little bit sideways. Having said, and like, obviously the pitch would be like I just said with Maxey, like Maxey and LeBron have a great relationship. He's going to play off of the ball. He'll absolutely play off the ball if they have Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, whoever on the team. And the pitch would basically be, we know that Kyrie can be your sidekick. Like he can play off the ball, even though, by the way, it makes you smaller, which was the Darius Garland thing in the first place, is like Darius Garland, small, Donovan Mitchell, small, even though he's built like a tank. Like, look, at a minimum, Harden can switch on defense, and until the conference finals, that was actually a worthy strategy for them, and he was able to hold up on wings and forwards in a way that Garland couldn't. And Kyrie's coming off the torn ACL, but that was basically my idea, was like they could basically do a sign and trade with James Harden and picks, get Kyrie. They'd probably have to dump Max Strus somewhere, but it sounds like they're going to have to do that anyway if they want to go after Jonathan Kuminga. So I've just been thinking, like, how can they make that roster make more sense for LeBron to want to go back there? And is that the holdup? Like, is the holdup right now that basically one of his old teammates, whether it's Kyrie or Anthony Davis or one of these guys that could go back to the Cavs potentially, or maybe another team if the Heat can't make a trade, and I don't think the Sixers are interested in making any more big moves like that. But is there a holdup because LeBron is trying to pressure them to make moves, and that's why he hasn't signed? And maybe it's just LeBron wants to be the center of attention, and he loves this shit, and he can help Rich Paul bring Bob Myers on his podcast and do all of the, whiteboard shit. But at the same time, like, if it were Cleveland, it just feels like we would know by now, is what I'm trying to say. And it feels like everyone should, like, even Wendy's like, we're just going based on vibes. Like, he's back in Akron. It makes sense, but we have no indication on any of this. Like, is there a move out there for them to make that isn't like trading for Anthony Davis or trading for Kyrie Irving that could get this over the line for them, is all I'm wondering. Because, like, they technically could do Jared Allen, Max Strus, and Schroeder for Anthony Davis. But then again, AD poses the same problems Embiid poses. Like, obviously, if you lose AD on the Cavs, it doesn't matter as much if you have Mobley and LeBron as your front court. But, like, does LeBron really want to do that? Like, I don't know. I just think that there has to be more to this, or else we would be getting like more definitive reports on where LeBron could end up going.
It would just be so funny if he was just like the Sacramento Kings, and he's like, I'm pulling them out of the mud. For my final act, I will make the Sacramento Kings.
I thought it was the Charlotte Hornets, but it's like the Knicks thing where it's like, well, there wouldn't have been a decision because he would have just went to the Knicks if it were last year.
Yeah.
And now it's like, but because the Hornets had some success and they made the play-in, he's like, well, I can't go save that franchise anymore. Raise my rent even further. Bring me the Kings and the Nets.
That's so funny. God damn. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty tapped out on the LeBron stuff just because I've done this 4 times in my life. And I'm just like,
it doesn't matter as much as it did before, too. Like, even if LeBron is still one of the 30 best players, 20 best players in the NBA when he's right, he's just not LeBron anymore. Like, he's not peak LeBron. And this mattered a lot more. The only reason that I think that this really matters is because we're this late into the offseason and he could sign a veterans minimum an MLE deal. That's all that's left.
That's the thing, is like that the fact that he's going to do this for like $1 million and some team is just going to add like a an all-star onto their team for
Yeah.
a minimum salary is like really what this is about. Like,
but that's okay. So here's my thing. Now, maybe
Yeah.
someone will inform me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a cap nerd that's like, actually, you could do this and that. But from what I understand, right now as it stands, now maybe they can make other moves to clear up space and stuff. But all three of these teams that we've talked about can only offer the minimum.
Yeah, it would need to be a sign and trade, and a sign and trade would cap you at the apron. And I don't know. I think that would
they renounced his rights. We can't even do a sign and trade anymore. They renounced his rights for the cap space.
Oh my God.
So that's why I was like, if this happened last week, right? And this was like we have the LeBron, because the only reason I know this is because the Sixers could have done a Quentin Grimes for LeBron James sign and trade, which would be the funniest thing that's ever happened in the history of the NBA. I think LeBron would literally rather take $2 million a year to play basketball than ever have that on the transaction line.
Yeah, Quentin got traded for Quentin Grimes on his fucking
on a technicality.
That would be so funny. Honestly, I bet he did that. I'm like not kidding. I bet
they proposed it to
somewhere
him.
along the line.
Yeah, I bet you they proposed like either like a Max Strus or Quentin Grimes or maybe Nikola Jovic or I'm just trying to think of like
he's like, I'm a billionaire. I make fucking like I make this shit in my sleep. I need my aura is priceless. I don't need this money. He understands what Elon Musk doesn't, that being cool is priceless.
Exactly.
There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
So we like, because I'm thinking about it, like Miami already used their taxpayer MLE on Tim Hardaway Jr. The Sixers use basically all of their exceptions. They have a little bit left of the biannual exception, but it's almost equal to LeBron, because LeBron's been in the league forever. His veterans minimum is basically half of the biannual exception. Yeah. So it honestly might even, I think it's even more, to be honest with you. I think the biannual exception is like $6 million, and I think LeBron will make like almost $4 million on his veterans minimum. So the Sixers can only offer the vet min now, and the Cavs technically could clear space and give him the full MLE, but then they can't go get Kuminga. And I'm just like, once again, I think the combination of getting to go home, having a good team, whether he plays or not, and then also logically slotting into their starting five makes it so that he probably goes back to, that's just kind of been like the logical explanation for this. And also would make for the documentary, as people have pointed out, like, is he just having all these people court him, and we'll have these clips of Shams on SportsCenter and then Rich Paul on his podcast. And then someone said like, but I'm obviously going back to Cleveland because this is where it all started. And the decision letter, I said, I'm going to finish my career here and blah, blah, blah. But once again, like I'm a little bit skeptical of the Cleveland thing only because of the things that I laid out, and why hasn't it been done yet is the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly kind of just chalk it up to attention. Yeah, like I think that he's like sick of like being out of the limelight, and he
wants to be courted a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he wants to squeeze one more. Like, hey, remember, I am the GOAT. Like, you know, like let's get this together. So he's trying to do that. I know this isn't going to make me popular. I would just be so surprised if he picked Philly. I just feel like there's so much work.
No, I've been, deep down, I felt that way. Like, even though I'm going psycho. Yeah. I mean, have you seen my post? Savannah James' business partner went to Temple, and LeBron's listening to, by the way, you know that LeBron was listening to a Tupac song from All Eyes on Me earlier today on his Instagram story, which I was like, once again, attention, all eyes on me. This is his center stage. This is the slop summer. He's keeping it going. It's the summer of slop, and LeBron is still keeping it going. But by the way, the thing that I said in that tweet was that Corrupts, the artist who's featured on the song that LeBron posted, was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm just saying there are hints and clues out there. Okay, just real quick, if you want to take the positive angle on the Miami thing. Yeah. Here was my positive take on Miami. He loves Spo, no Spo. Spo gained his respect, tried to get him fired. We talked about this on the decision. Yeah. It is kind of crazy when we did that decision podcast how he got in there and was like, let's get this guy out of here, bring Pat Riley back. And Pat Riley was like, no, we're having Spo coach. And then Spo has become one of the greatest tactical minds and greatest coaches of all time in the years and he gained LeBron's respect, he gained all those guys' respect. Mm-hmm. So he has that plus the Team USA relationship with him. He played on Team USA with Bam. Obviously.
Do you think Spo sees this as an opportunity to meet a wife again? Because he met his wife last time LeBron was on the team? Google Eric Spoelstra wife meeting for more.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite topics on the podcast.
Yeah.
We constantly discuss the kind of relationship that they were in.
Yes.
But the positive spin on the Miami thing is obviously the lifestyle is like he already knows what it's like to live in Miami. He already knows that he loves golf now. They have a ton of golf there. That's like a big thing. He can get to play with another all-time great, which if you look at, and by the way, Embiid, if he were healthy, you could make the pitch, well, LeBron and Embiid, whatever. Jaylen Brown and Maxey are really good players. They're not Giannis. And every step along the way, he has gone and played with a guy who was either a top 5 or top 10 player everywhere that he's went. And this would be another scenario where he gets a chance to play with a top, 5 player in the NBA right now, a former MVP, guy who just got there, all that stuff. And my thing is, while the offensive fit is a little bit clunky, the defense would just be insane. Obviously, it's still kind of a similar problem to the Cavs thing I laid out earlier, where LeBron is playing the 3 because Bam is going to play the 5 and Giannis is going to play the 4. And obviously, the lack of shooting, the clunkiness of the offensive fit. I just think between Spo, Bam, Giannis, and LeBron, they would say we can figure that out. And we can just make our whole calling card like playoff defense.
I'm just saying, if the all-time single game scoring leader is your third best offensive weapon, aren't you a good offense?
I mean, could you not have made the argument that? Wait, hold on. I'm going to push back on that. I think LeBron is still a better scorer than Bam.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh wait, what did you say?
I said if the all-time single game leading scorer is your third best.
I'm saying that I still think that offensively,
can you imagine if
LeBron is better than Bam though?
Yeah, I agree. I'm saying.
Single game. I thought you were talking about LeBron's all-time record.
No, not his all-time record. No. They have. I was gonna say you have the all-time leading scorer and the single game leading scorer on the same team.
Unbelievable. The fakest thing we've ever seen.
Imagine if Kobe was on a team with LeBron James and a 2-time MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
How many titles would Bam win? More than Kobe, that's for sure.
It's got to be, right? I mean, it's if you just think about the math that works there. Because I was literally just thinking, like, LeBron was just the third option on his last team. He wouldn't be the third option on this team, right? Like, you could pitch it like Bam is the glue guy, holds everything together defensively.
Yeah, Bam's getting the Chris Bosh treatment.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Captain. Sorry, Captain. You're going in the corner.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
Remember, have you ever watched a Miami thing? They have this nauseating thing where they're like, they call the captain. Yeah. And
it's actually very funny because I actually hate the Raptors broadcasters because I think that they're like basically doing insane propaganda all the time.
By the way, they're the most moderate voices in Raptors media, but Jack Armstrong is like, he is basically like fucking the AOC of the Raptors conservative world.
I was going to say it feels like you're watching state-run media when you and you understand why Raptors fans are the way they are when you watch their broadcast. And the Heat, every broadcast has bias towards their players.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that the Heat do a better job of balancing it than people give them credit for. I think where the Heat's insanity comes from is their internet media. Where it's 100%. Like the
Barry, our boy Barry.
Yeah, like Barry and the Levitard and his crew like. But by the way,
Ira Winderman, is that his name? Yeah,
like they're all just running, and I've pointed out the irony all before that they all hate state media, but you know. Anyway,
thanks to Maxi Ding Dang for this. Giannis and LeBron moving into Miami and hazing Bam would be so funny.
30-year-old Bam getting
30-year-old Bam who's been the captain of the team for a while, and they're like, "Carry my bags, Rook." Like,
get me lunch.
Give me lunch. We're running up. You're buying dinner tonight.
He's like, I make $50 million a year.
Chump change. We're all
to me and you, to Giannis and Bron are the only people in the world that can run up on Bam and tell him he's broke.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. It's so funny.
But the positive Miami pitch, once again, the main difference, even though if you want to make the Cleveland pitch, it's like the offensive ceiling could be ridiculous. You figure out the defense. It's the inverse for Miami, right? Okay, the other thing I wanted to say about the Cleveland thing, and I know Cavs fans are going to hate me for this. Like, I think it would be a cool story, undeniably. Don't you guys all hate your coach? Like, did they not all want Kenny Atkinson fired? And like, is LeBron going to go to a situation where they might be firing the coach in the middle of the season? Although people have pointed out to me that would be the best send-off for LeBron possible. Like, that's kind of his signature.
One more
coach fired.
It's kind of like in Jurassic Park where they have the goat chained up for the T-Rex. Like they're bringing in one last Kenny Atkinson for LeBron to kill on his way out the door. They let LeBron put him in the Wicker Man fucking thing from Nick Cage. The bees.
I've been thinking all this time that there's got to be a trade out there, and it's like, no, he's just gonna get to torture another coach.
Yeah, they just let him murder one more coach. Bro, one more coach into the pit. Yeah, that's a good. And Kenny Atkinson's a good coach. You know what I'm saying?
He's a good coach, but it just feels like once again, I'm just saying that, and I actually think this about the Sixers too, because I thought about this. The vibes, like the leaks we would get from a locker room that has LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid. Like Jaylen going on his stream and being like, I had more points than LeBron last game, by the way.
No, Jaylen is, here's what 100% would happen. Jaylen would invite LeBron on the stream. LeBron is very much a no free clout guy who would absolutely refuse. And Jaylen would like take that personally and just get passive aggressive with him the rest of the season. It would be so awesome, dude. Like,
so once again, if you want to talk about the fragile vibes, that plus, and by the way, I do just want to say, from everything we've heard, James Harden is a good teammate. Mm-hmm. And people really like James Harden as a person. But also, we've had a history of him and his like co-stars like hating him after they play together. So, or at least not having a relationship afterwards. So the vibes are obviously very fragile there. Like, it felt like this before they made the conference finals and they extended Donovan Mitchell, it felt like they could be the team that blew it up next offseason to me.
Yeah.
And maybe that plus a LeBron reunion kind of restores the vibes on that team. I hate to say that like Miami is the only one that's kind of stable.
They do have the infrastructure. They've done the LeBron thing before. They know what it takes. Like, you know,
they dealt with Jimmy Butler. By the way, it was pretty good for like 5 years until the end. Now they don't have a good relationship, but it's like, and obviously Pat Riley and him have to patch things up. I'm just saying there are many reasons to count Miami out. Mainly the clunky fit if he's talking about basketball wise, and the difference between Miami and Cleveland is that Miami has point of attack defenders like Andrew Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, whoever fucking they find in the G League like next year.
Can I say something? I kind of hope this happens. I kind of hope it's Miami because that would restore the feeling for me. It would be bad for my bet with Matt, and again, I would probably have to go into hiding after he got control of my username and turned it into a slur or whatever he's going to do with it. That would restore the feeling. LeBron, the hatred, like I would be excited about this season again in that I would just dedicate myself to hating the Miami Heat.
I was going to say the rivalry has kind of fizzled out over the last 2-3 years. It really hasn't. There hasn't been any sort of juice between those two.
Yeah, well, and I think it's about to burn out again because again, I think this Giannis trade was a massive mistake. I think they destroyed themselves. But I think if they got LeBron, there's like a little bit of a bailout there, where like I would be like, okay, now there's like a little bit of a path to being like a little bit interesting as a competitive team. With in the next 2 years, because that's the main issue is they just can't get the talent around Giannis fast enough before he explodes.
I keep going back to this.
Yeah,
that's totally agree.
Yeah,
I keep going back to the one. There are like LeBron historian guys.
Yeah,
the only one I trust is Nick Wright, because Nick Wright is like he's like Bill, but for LeBron specifically. Like Bill loves the NBA in general.
Yeah.
Nick Wright just cares. Like to the point where he's doing propaganda on how the Kawhi Clipper situation was a disaster because he basically went to LA and couldn't win a championship and LeBron could at his age and all that stuff. And well, I don't think he's technically wrong. Like obviously they traded away SGA to make that work and it didn't work and whatever. Also, we'll get to this in a little bit, but Sixers fans have been killing me because I'm just a little bit more skeptical of the trade than when I had my slop high with the Jaylen Brown thing. And the reason I bring that up is because basically when you look at a trade like that, like for example, the Kawhi Paul George thing, right? It was like, well, you're not trading for just Paul George. You're also getting Kawhi. If we got LeBron, I obviously would not give a fuck about what we traded as the Sixers because we get Jaylen Brown and LeBron with that. It's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
When you're like, okay, we also got the guy that solves all of the issues that I have with this current team build, and he's going to play whether a year or two for us or whatever. But Nick Wright has pointed this out time and time again, and it's why I think this is not the last year for LeBron. He always has said it takes him 2 years to go somewhere and contend for a championship. If you look at Miami, they didn't win the first year. They got to the finals. They lost. They won the second year. He went back to Cleveland. They lost in the finals the first year. They won the second year. He went to the Lakers. They have that weird season. They end up trading for AD. They win the finals the next year. So LeBron, when he leaves a team and goes to another team, is 3 for 3 on winning a championship in his second season, not his first season. So I think that in itself might be a little bit of a lifeline to all of these teams in general. Because here's my thing. If he goes to Miami and they don't have enough to get it done this year, we know they're going to be able to make more moves a year from now because they're Miami and they always figure shit out.
Yeah.
If he goes to Cleveland and the Harden thing is a mess and all of the issues I have basketball wise pop up and hold them back from being like a finals level team or a championship level team, then he could say you can trade one of James Harden or Jared Allen or Evan Mobley or whatever and make this team make a little bit more sense for my final year here in Cleveland as I'm retiring. If he goes to the Sixers and Joel Embiid isn't healthy this year, he can say Joel Embiid's contract's only 2 years left now on it instead of 3. You have next season, the Sixers will have all of these picks. And one of the reason I'm a little bit scared about what just happened with the Jaylen Brown move is that we're hearing that ownership with the Sixers is more involved now. Like they went to Gansey, the new GM, and they found out Jaylen Brown was available for trade. And they were like, go trade for Jaylen Brown. And that just makes me afraid because in the past, whenever they've gotten involved, shit goes sideways. What they do is a miniature version of what the Nets and the Suns did, where the Nets, when they did the trade with you guys for the picks that became Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and the Suns, when they traded for Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and all this stuff, where the vibes get weird, things don't really turn out the way they thought they were gonna, and then they make cost-cutting moves. And the Sixers obviously have had the talent to withstand this in the past, but I am worried in general if the Sixers obviously if they get LeBron, I won't give a fuck. It's LeBron James. Like you just do whatever you can to get LeBron on your team and you figure out the rest later. But there is a scenario where all of these teams are forced to make a move, whether it's at this deadline or next year. And the Sixers have available like 5 first-round picks next year, which then makes trading the Joel Embiid contract a lot easier. And they basically would then blow all of their draft capital to go in on the last year of whether it's 1 year with LeBron. And obviously I would understand why they would do it in a scenario like that. I just feel like with ownership involved and the new front office being super aggressive, I'm just a little bit concerned about the bottom falling out on this thing because they're just throwing all of their draft capital to make a good team for a 2-year window. When I feel like unless they get LeBron, they have zero chance to win a championship still. Like I genuinely don't think that this team has any chance to win a championship
next year.
No chance. Like I'm to the point where I'm like, I like this team a lot and I've been fine with them being competitive and fun and younger and more available because I once again, this is the thing I've been trying to explain and why everyone's been yelling at me in the Discord. I'm fine in a vacuum with trading Paul George plus draft picks for Jaylen Brown. All the other moves signal that this front office loves hoopers. Like the Simons thing, which is a fine value contract. Like that's, once again, it's not terrible value. Yeah. Drafting Phylon when there were other prospects on the board that might have positionally fit a little bit better. And I'm just worried that between the combination of not really knowing how to build rosters around stars, combined with ownership being involved and telling them to get this deal done, even though they did talk down the price over the course of the negotiations, apparently. And then on top of that, like, I just don't know how you can think that Joel Embiid can play high-level playoff basketball for 2 straight months. So
that's the last part. Is
right,
like we saw him play high-level playoff basketball
for 2 weeks, and it's not.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I did not want to make a move like this, and part of the reason why I was like, I'm still fine with the trade in a vacuum, is because this team's going to be a lot more available. They're going to be fun. They're going to run a ton. They have flaws, but whatever. Like this team is going to have flaws no matter what.
Pretty substantial floor raise too. Like I would be very surprised.
The floor is safer, but here was my argument.
Okay.
The floor was always going to have a chance to drop off when you have Paul George and Joel Embiid. We saw it in the first season. Yeah. They were a terrible team because they had Tyrese Maxey and a bunch of guys. And I totally understand that fear. They have their pick for next year. And like, if everything went to shit, you have your pick. You have the next year, you could potentially have your own pick and the Clippers pick. Like the floor falling out on this team, yes, it could be very bad, but I don't see this move as a championship winning move. And I also don't see any move they could have made in the next 2 years being a championship winning move. And I'm a little bit concerned if they don't get LeBron, which by the way, it doesn't seem like something you should bank on, that they are going to have pushed in the chips for another good, not great team. And then they still have the Joel Embiid question mark. And then if things go wrong this year, they panic and they trade all of their shit with Joel Embiid from there.
That's the issue. I think what you're describing is that you're fine with the offseason writ large, but it's telegraphing a recklessness.
The process is, yes. Yeah. It's the exact opposite of Daryl Morey. Yeah. And I just wanted to, and by the way, I still blame Morey for digging the hole in the first place. Like, the reason why they're in this situation is because Daryl Morey fumbled the fucking roster management so bad the last 4 years that it got them to this point. And I just want for the one, you know me, I'm fucking like, be aggressive, go spend, you never know how long your window is going to be. Right. Go for it, blah, blah, blah. But this was the first time in my entire life that I can remember outside of the process, which was a full tear down and rebuild, being like, let's just see how it looks. like, let's see who becomes available in the next year. Now, maybe they could have never gotten a player as good as Jaylen Brown, and that's definitely possible. But there's also a possibility that like the people have pushed back and said like, well, what did you want them to do? Like, what if Maxey asks out? I'm like, if Maxey asks out, then Maxey asks out. Like, I can't make all of my decisions based on Tyrese Maxey wanting to be with the Sixers for his whole career. And by the way, we can offer him more money next offseason than any team in the NBA, and they would do it just to keep him happy, and that will give them time to figure this thing out. And I'm just a little bit concerned that they pushed in half their stash already, because they don't have a ton of tradable draft picks other than that right now. And then it indicates that ownership will go, you need to make more moves and you need to get off the Joel Embiid contract, just like you got off the Paul George contract. And it will dictate a aggressive kind of reckless spending potential here. And if they give Jaylen Brown an extension, I'm going to lose my mind, because I just think that giving Jaylen Brown a supermax off for 2 more years off of the 3 years he has left when he's entering his 30s is a full death sentence under this new CBA. Like, I think even under the old CBA, it would have been questionable. And I think under this new one, like, you just had Tobias Harris's contract on the books for 5 years. You just had Paul George's contract on the books for 2 years. Can you see how it looks for a year or two before you're making all of these commitments? Yeah. And like, that's what Jaylen's going to expect, because that's why Jaylen wanted out of Boston, because he wanted to get paid and he wanted his respect, which I get. But also, you can't be the team that's just forking over the money because you traded for this guy and you want to keep him happy. You need to do what the Knicks did with Karl Anthony Towns and see it through.
Yeah. And we'll see. I think what we do is I understand what you're saying, because I think we're talking about, it's kind of a different version of that Wizards move, right? With trading for Trae Young, where it's like, yeah, that's a great trade in a vacuum. Yeah. Now just don't fuck it up and max him. And then they max him, and
Trae was a free agent. Like, it's not like Jaylen has 3 years left in the deal. They can say to him, let's see how it looks. If we're in the conference finals next year, do whatever the fuck you want. I'm to the point where it's like, if you're in the conference finals or you're making a run, sure, fine. If you do the thing, and even with the Donovan Mitchell thing, and this makes me like, I get why people are reacting the way they are, and I definitely understand. Oh my God, $75 million for Donovan Mitchell when he's 34 or 35. That's crazy. But at the same time, like, I know this is like what we do, and like we're like the slot podcast and like contracts and stuff, and like, yes, it isn't like good value, and like if you wanted to like get down to like brass tacks, like they probably won't win a championship unless they get LeBron and they make some other moves. They probably won't win one during this window. But it just feels so crazy to be like, yeah, don't give this top 10 player in the NBA a max contract. And like a guy who went to a smaller market, who was really a life raft for a team that was kind of aimlessly wandering post LeBron for the 3 or 4 years in between that. And they just made the conference finals. And like, I understand Donovan Mitchell's a very flawed basketball player. I understand that it's a huge thing with guys like Jaylen and Donovan, who are very reliant on athleticism to give them this money into their 30s. And can the bottom fall out? Yes. But at the same time, I'm like, he's been like a second team or first team All NBA guy for like 3 straight years. If he's not worth it, then there's only 3 players in the world that are worth this money, basically, is my whole pitch here.
Yeah, I mean, I like, yes. And I think that here's the thing is like, all of that is true. Like the Jaylen Brown thing, I mean, this is why this has been beaten to death, but like, this is why his value was where it was, because like everyone's figuring out that like, not all these guys are supermax guys, right? Like, and that's kind of the thing everyone's figuring out is like, damn, this kind of sucks in this CBA that we've put ourselves in this situation where we have to go in and we have to tell our franchise player, we actually think you're very good, but not like the best, and you have to do that if you want to stay competitive, and guys don't want to hear that. And we're kind of seeing a different evolution here where teams are kind of having to start saying that to guys and kind of how that is going. And we're going to kind of see how that goes. My thing for the Sixers is there's very clearly a coexistence plan that wasn't there for the Celtics. Like, you guys can get Tyrese Maxey on a 9-year max and he might not qualify for like a super max. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like a way forward. Like Tyrese Maxey is not Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? Like he might not qualify for.
Oh, like
you could get like a 30.
Sure.
He could get a 30% max. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
going to extend him probably on the 30%. Well, technically they drafted him, and if he makes All NBA, he would be eligible for Supermax.
And that's possible, but like
he needs to make it next year though. It can't just be this past year.
Yeah,
it has to be this upcoming year too.
It has to be this upcoming year too. But like. That's like a possibility, though,
that's
VJ
what this trade is the bet. Yes,
VJ is a rookie. Like the salaries match up a little, and obviously, like Joel Embiid has that massive contract. But like when these guys are fully operational and paid, the contract structures are like a little bit staggered. It would still be a very expensive deal, but it would not be 75. There's a huge difference between 70% of your cap in 2 players and 90% of your cap in 3 players. Like that is a very different calculation. I also don't think they'll max Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has shown himself to be, he wasn't the same stature of player, but he's taken less than a max before. And maybe that's a little bit more palatable to him in 2 years when this starts happening to other guys.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm skeptical of that because he's coming off of the highest scoring, highest usage year of his career.
But we're the bad guys for that, not you guys. This is what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've already had the consequences of that. Like, honestly, he might want to give us a little bit of a fuck you because it seems like there wasn't a transparent conversation about that. It would be a pretty good twist of the knife if he signed for you guys with like a 32% flat thing with like not the raises. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was like a $50 million every year extension or something like that, where it's not 70 or whatever.
70 would be a death sentence. That's the thing is that like it's just if you pay anyone who is not Jokic, and that is the point of that we're making here. To be fair, the percentage of the cap thing is also like that would have existed under the old CBA. It's just that the aprons make it a little bit more complicated.
Well, also, the cap rose a lot more in like recent years. It's not stagnated,
no,
but it's not gone up as much.
The 10% maximum has not hit, and that's what teams project for when they make these deals. And the 10% maximum not going up just means that you have less money to spend going forward. So you need to really maximize these slots. And just a real quick thing on the Maxey thing. The thing that I've been trying to say is like, I've been the number one Tyrese Maxey fan since before he was drafted. I've loved Maxey. And yeah, it would obviously crush me if he ever played for another team. Having said all of that, this next year, we said it last year going into the year where we were like, this is kind of like shit or get off the pot time for Maxey, where it's like, you're either like just a top 30 or 40 guy in the NBA, or you're clearly a top 20 guy. It feels like this next year is the next step in that, where it's like, you've already made all of these leaps as a player. You've went from the 21st pick in the draft to barely playing as a rookie, to starter as a second-year guy, to high-level starter as a third-year guy, to all-star as a fourth-year guy, to weird year, now back up to All-NBA, even though you could make the argument that maybe if everyone was healthy, he wouldn't have made All-NBA. I think he was clearly one of the 15 or 20 best players in the NBA this past season. Having said all of this, if Maxey becomes a top 10 player next year, let's just say age 26, playmaking gets better, pull-up shooting continues to progress, decision-making gets better, he's playing off the ball more, he's getting even better on defense, and he's just one of the 10 to 12, 13 best players in the NBA. All of this stuff is not as much of a concern, right? But you could have made that bet when you saw it. Because this is a bet to make on Maxey now that you're projecting a little bit forward, where it's like the first month and a half of last year when Maxey they were playing him a ton, and before they ran him into the ground, really. And that's kind of the idea of this offseason, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like we ran Maxey into the ground to the point where he was gassed by the time January and February came around, and honestly was not the same level of player, whether the early season stuff was sustainable or not. We want to try to get the best out of him and also not have him play 45 minutes a game in the playoffs. So I just think they might have done a little bit of overkill in that department, where it's like, okay, you used basically all your assets to get guys that will help Maxey undeniably in Jaylen Brown and Phylon and Simons, but it's like you spent everything you had except for the Dean Wade thing on that, really. And I'm just a little bit concerned because, like, I felt like they could have waited to see what Maxey was going to become this upcoming season before making that decision. And they kind of jumped the gun. And I've always viewed the Clippers picks as the life raft for this team. Like, if you're, wandering aimlessly as a team, the Clippers picks might be a little bit of a boost for Maxey's late 20s and VJ's prime. And now you gave away one of those picks. Who knows if in 2 years the Clippers or the Sixers are better? And they basically could potentially lose out on a swap because of that. And I'm just a little bit like, I wish they were more patient. I understand why they made the move, and I hope that what they showed at the beginning of last year, this team that runs a ton, this team that gets out in transition, that just like basically old Indiana Pacer style before they got Siakam. I hope that they show that they can do that with Jaylen Brown, VJ, Maxey, all these guys, the guys they just drafted, or, Phylon and and Simons and all them. But I'm just a little bit like, I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more of Maxey progression before making the push in win now move, even if it was a good opportunity to get off the Paul George contract. So I don't know. I just felt like I felt like they might have jumped the gun a little bit. I've said
it's never going to be perfect. Like every time there's a big move, it's going to be a little bit queasy. Like I feel like there's something, because you are, but you can't just have asset brain. Like Oklahoma City. Like, I understand that they won the title. There was it felt insurmountable that they were going to win 4 titles a year and a half ago. And it went away. It goes pretty quick. Sure. The assets go pretty quick. I think it's I do think that they're a bird in hand. I think what you have to do is, I think if you go into this season and it's a nightmare and it's not working, you have to be willing to move on from it. But before you even see it, let's just see how it happens. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this shit unlocks Dom Barlow, and all of a sudden Dom Barlow is NBA starter Dom Barlow. I'm shit like that might happen. On the fridge. They
need things like that, because everyone keeps telling me this team got deeper, and I just don't agree. I'm like, they got that. Like Jaylen Brown being more available than Paul George will make them kind of a default, I guess, deeper, quote unquote, because he'll be able to eat up more minutes in the regular season for sure. But they drafted Phylon, but then they also signed Simons. So I don't know. It feels like, knowing Nick Nurse, is he going to play Phylon as a rookie? Simons might eat up those minutes. And then they traded, they swapped Oubre for Dean Wade. They swapped Grimes for Simons. I think this team is basically where they were depth-wise. Honestly, they even with Drummond is washed at this point, and I don't really care about losing him, even though he's my GOAT. Drummond for Hukporti is arguably more of an unproven. Hukporti has never played real minutes in the NBA. I just feel like all of the narratives out there about what the Sixers did in terms of getting deeper and more depth just aren't true. But the other side of this is that there was no way for them to get depth this offseason. And I realize that. And I actually do think the one thing that I wanted them to do that was just not realistic was do a soft reset, like what the Hornets did, right? But maybe not quite to the extent of trading Maxey like they did with LaMelo Ball, but making the trade that they made where they traded Miles Bridges for an unprotected first that far out, and Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal and whatever. I would have liked to see them try to make those moves, but those moves just weren't available to the Sixers. There really was no way to fix this thing in one offseason. You were probably always going to need to get a little bit of both health luck and depth luck, like you said, whether it's the guys on the fringes of the roster, Justin Edwards or Dalen Terry or whoever, making a leap going into the next year or two, or someone who was in the rotation pretty solidly last year, and Dom Barlow. They probably were going to have to get lucky either way. I'm just how does they were never going to be perfect for sure going into this upcoming season. And I don't think that they obviously got younger, so they don't need do like the whole like contention window this season or bust. I just hope that if things go a little bit sideways this year, they don't panic and make moves that they'll regret and then end up giving away when VJ's 25, they have no one left because they have no draft picks and they pushed in on his rookie contract and they went a little bit too far with it. So for now, I'm fine with it. I understand you couldn't fix this overnight and it's going to be fun. I think that and even like I will be able to cope my way through if Embiid can't go at some point this season.
I'm telling you, brother, those Jaylen Brown 40 burgers feel really good. They feel really good.
I've already had some like I've had ones like this. I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna go Jaylen Brown mode for here. This last year was my favorite Sixers season of all time. Like only because when the expectations are so low for the team and they exceed them, to me, that's better than when there's all these expectations. And in my lifetime, the Sixers have never lived up to them. So when you have a team that's like a fun, young, plucky team, and by the way, Joel and Paul George last year played whenever they could and were really good when they played. They just weren't available. It was a lot. Everything came together and was a lot of fun and enjoyable, even though it was a middling team that did not have a high ceiling. And that's kind of how I feel about this upcoming Sixers team. I feel similarly to how I felt about last year's team, except they might run even more. And honestly, stylistically, I don't know how they're going to get stops, especially during the non-Dean Wade minutes on this team. But I do think that they're going to be like, their games are going to regularly be in like the high 120s and 130s. Yeah. And that's going to be fun. They're going to be fun ass basketball.
Yeah, I mean, that is the point. That's why this team's not going to win a championship, because I think they will probably be a bottom 10 defense. I don't see any way around that. But
if Joel was prime Joel, I would be like, they can easily be an above average defense and an amazing offense. This is the team I wanted them to build around prime Joel. And this is why it's the second straight year where it's like, cool, you fucking couldn't do it when he still had a functioning body. Thanks. But it is what it is. But anyway, my little spiel's over. We have a lot of time between now and when basketball is going to be played anyway in the fall. And shit can still change. Maybe they can get LeBron. Maybe some other things can happen between now and then. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the new look Sixers look like. And I'm hoping that between Nick Nurse and Dean Wade and maybe a VJ Edgecombe leap that defensively they can look a lot more passable, at least in the regular season, than I think they could. And I'm hoping that Joel can return to form a little bit defensively like he did at times this year. He just was not consistent in that regard. And by the way, one of the things coming out of this free agency, I don't know if you noticed this, you know, it was I feel like the worst sort. I don't even want to say worst, because the hardest thing to get in this free agency and transaction cycle was like a good center. It felt like, and I looked across the NBA. Like I looked at because when the Sixers signed Huck Porty, I was like, this is fucking stupid. What the fuck are they doing? Why are you giving Huck Porty more than the minimum? Like, he hasn't done anything so far in his career. But then I saw the rest of free agency play out, and I was like, wait, Jock Landale got $14 million? Yeah. And then, like, the centers that were getting, like, real money.
I had a similar thing with Mitchell Robinson, where I'm like, why are we giving, like, the regular season all-star guy who can't play in the offseason the MLE? And then I, like, thought about it. I was like, oh, everyone else was bad. And we had to use our MLE this offseason, and he was probably the best free agent that you could get with that amount of money.
Well, also, the Celtics are just fully leaning into possession and three-point rate, which is...
I hope not. That's such a...
I mean, that's what your moves kind of indicate is like... Paul George is going to shoot more threes, and he'll make more threes than Jaylen Brown. And then Mitchell Robinson...
I need the narrative football. No, it's Jason Tatum's MVP season is what this is. It's not, they don't actually believe this. They don't actually believe this impacts winning, but it will help Jason Tatum win an MVP this year. That's what's important here. So we're going to,
I mean, impact winning in the regular season or the postseason?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think this team could win, because there's been a lot of pushback. It was like, oh, the Celtics aren't going to be better. I was like, well, no, that's not true. They will definitely be a better regular season team. If they're not, it's kind of an indictment against Jason Tatum. I'm going to be like totally honest. Like this is a team that is exactly the same, but with Mitchell Robinson and Paul George dropped onto it.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to win 60 games next year.
Yes, they should.
That's like a demonic regular season possessions and 3-point team, which kind of is the way to hack regular season basketball. Like we've talked about, like the possession battle stuff is literally like extremely important in the regular season, and teams that have leaned into that have just been wins machines between the Thunder and the Celtics.
Yeah. No, the Celtics could like genuinely win like 64 games next year, and I will be like, I hope they make the conference finals. That would be an awesome like that. Usually that means you're a contender. I will be like, I will not be buying. Kind of regardless. I was the most tricked. I'm not gonna lie. I was very wounded by the Celtics playoff performance this year. I don't think I will ever I don't think I'll ever get over being tricked like that.
I've never been on the other side of a 7-game Sixers Celtics series where it looked like we were going to win and then it got stolen from. What you're having is what I had happen to me in 2023. Where ever since that series, like I'm honestly like Game 6 of 2023. I've said it before, like just a little part of me died, and I just don't think I'll ever be able to. And a lot of people have said, like, this is why you're skeptical of this move, and this is why you're skeptical of every move the Sixers make, is because you'll just never you'll never fully buy in again, basically.
Yeah.
And it was a 2023 Game 6 when we lost to you guys, and then we got destroyed in Game 7. I was like, yeah, that might be it. That kind of might be it. Yeah. But the Mitchell Robinson deal, like, I actually now once again the problem with both Paul George and Mitchell Robinson is, can they hold up for a full season? And like the Knicks and the Sixers basically had to put them in bubble wrap to get them to the playoffs. The Sixers had Paul George get suspended at one point, and he came back looking great post suspension. And honestly was amazing through the first like 8-9 playoff games. Like he was looking a lot more like himself. And then
again, calculator ball, like they could probably do that. Like, honestly, like, again, these are guys who were just additions onto a team that this is basically a team that just had Jason Tatum or had Jaylen Brown instead of Jason Tatum and won 56 games. Like,
yeah, they're going to win a ton of regular season games.
They don't need those guys to play. They don't need those guys to be every night players. Like, those guys could both play 40 games and we'd probably be fine. Like,
that's probably what the idea for next year is. Yeah. And I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
The Discord's going to fucking crash out when I say this. I genuinely, just from a pure, I don't gamble, I don't bet or anything. I know you joked about it. I don't think Jason Tatum MVP is the worst bet to make because they're going to win so many fucking games in the regular season.
I'm being serious about that. Yeah. I genuinely think that is what they are doing. I think that they know this team is kind of not, I don't want to say DOA in the playoffs, because I think they could win a series. And like, like maybe if everything goes right against the Knicks, maybe I will not be holding my breath. But I think that they know that this is not a championship caliber team in a real way. And I think this is how you make it up to Jason Tatum. I think that they need to kind of rehab. I think that this is I'm not saying Jason Tatum asked for this. Don't get like, if you're a Tatum stan, don't get mad at me or anything like that. I think this is what the front office had planned, is we need to do a Jason Tatum centric season, kind of the way we just did for Jaylen Brown, to kind of make this up to him like a little bit. Like,
the only thing I will say, and I'm sure all of his numbers are excellent other than this, but the 2-point stuff last year when he came back from the injury, if he's fully healed from the injury and he doesn't have any sort of setbacks, is the caveat on this, because he was an Iron Man previous to the injury, but then he didn't make it through the playoffs. He obviously rushed back and came back a little bit early. He'll have a lot more time to recover from that. And the Jaylen Brown for Paul George exchange is an exchange that makes them potentially a lot less available in the regular season. The spacing element of it is interesting to me only because while Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, we've talked about this before, they're two of the worst high volume jump shooters in the NBA.
Yes.
Like they are, in ways they made it work because they're both so talented and the rest of the team just made so much sense around them.
The thing is, Jaylen Brown takes like long twos, which like fundamentally are kind of like Jason Tatum. There's like no reason to, because he's actually like turned himself into a pretty good like fucking restricted area like slide. Like he's so good at everything else that it makes me genuinely want to kill myself when he like takes an above the break three with like 18 seconds on the shot clock, and he does that shit all the fucking time, and it drives me insane. Yeah,
I can guarantee you we're gonna have many games next year where Tatum takes one of those shots, and then Mitchell Robinson or Kata gets a rebound and then throws it back out, and it's just like.
He's good on that at the second time around because it's in rhythm and it turns into a catch and shoot.
Like, he's better on catch and shoot.
That's the thing, is it turns into a catch and shoot, then he's good at it. Like it's very funny.
Jaylen has the weird Luka disease where he's actually better on pull-up threes than he is on catch and shoots, 100%, which makes me nervous because I'm like, please just make your pull-up threes. We need it desperately because the Sixers, the Sixers can provide, and to be clear, in the regular season especially, because Joel, I'm assuming, will at least play a decent amount of games, can provide Jaylen with good spacing. Like Wade's a three-point shooter. VJ is going to be a better three-point shooter next year. Maxi's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA off the catch. And Embiid is more of a stretch big now, just kind of by default. He has to be than he was in the past, even though him and Jaylen like to occupy a lot of the same areas of the floor. But what I was going to say is like Paul George, for all of his availability issues and the decline in athleticism and like same kind of idea when Jason Tatum came back from the injury and had the 2-point scoring dip, like whenever he is asked to create his own 2-point scoring, Paul George has just kind of been sunken the last few years. Like he just has not been the same level of 2-point scorer. But he is a demon 3-point shooter and he's extremely good off the catch. And honestly, one of my main criticisms of Nick Nurse, me and him are on a first name basis. My friend Nicholas. One of my main criticisms was that he didn't figure out ways. Like Nurse is a really good playoff coach. In the regular season, there are teams like the Jazz and the Pacers and the Celtics that have a system, and some of those teams have just better personnel. But they have a system that gets guys wide open catch and shoots. And the Sixers just did not do that. Part of the reason why they were kind of a better postseason team than regular season team last year was because they just had tough shot makers. And they were good enough on defense, and the regular season stuff, like the Celtics machine with the Missoula ball, possessions plus 3-point shooting plus defense is just going to kind of auto print over 50 wins every year, no matter who the personnel is. And then if, like you said, like they added Paul George and Mitchell Robinson, if those guys play 50 to 60 regular season games, you're probably going to like, it will probably drive you insane because they're going to win 60 something games and have a net rating, the greatest net rating in the history of the NBA.
They're going to have a 10 net rating and everyone's going to
it's going to be more than 10, dude. I'm telling you.
Everyone's going to be screaming at me like, what do you mean? Every day, like, look at the statistical profile. Every time a team wins 63 games and has a plus 10 net rating, that team is a legitimate contender. And you're poo-pooing this because you're a hater, because you hate Jason Tatum. And no, that's not true. They just don't have shot create. Like, how is everyone like forgetting this? Like, yes, a healthy Jason Tatum is a better player than Jaylen Brown. That is just a fact. Like, and he's substantially better because he's a better defender. He's more functional off the ball. The rebounding, he's an elite rebounder. He's a great defender. All of these things are true. They are going to be definitely be a better playoff team than they were last year. You need to have, I have seen Jason Tatum helmed team run a clogged toilet offense. And I'm sorry, that's not all on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had his hand in it. He did some bad things. Jason Tatum is not a lights out playoff scorer when the things are good. And that is not like a crazy criticism. Most NBA players are not that. You know who's not that? Jalen Brunson also was not that. Needed Karl Anthony Towns to buoy him through the first 3 quarters so he could go insane in the fourth. Like, how many times did we watch that with the Knicks? He's a Jalen Brunson level of player. I have my joke about Jason Tatum's a crunch time merchant. But and Jaylen Brunson has kind of taken that mantle. I feel like where Jaylen Brunson. I watched so many games where Jalen Brunson looked horrific for like the first half, 2 or 3 quarters, and then he would just and Cat and OG would like buoy the team, and then the second like it went to like 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, he would just take the fuck off. And like Jason Tatum can absolutely do that. That's a Finals MVP, as we just saw with Jalen Brunson. But you need to fucking have the Karl Anthony Towns on your team, and the Celtics do not have that. And I'm very concerned about that. And I think that is the issue that they're going to run into in the playoffs. Is I think that you need to have one more guy who's that talented. And it's not Paul George. I don't think it's going to be Peyton Pritchard, and it's not any of these other guys on the roster. And that's the issue.
If you want to have a recent example of this, it's like the on-offs will tell you that the Thunder are actually better with Jalen Williams off the floor in the playoffs.
Right.
And then we saw them without Jalen Williams in the Western Conference Finals, and we were like, you hit a point where you need that second guy, where like it's just like whether it's just getting a tough bucket, and it doesn't have to be the most consistent player in the world. It doesn't have to be a perfect second option, but you need to have that guy, and they're making a bet that they can find that guy either via what the Sixers gave them, or they can find that guy somewhere on the roster. And that's the thing that I think that will determine because we know their floor is going to be good. Like their floor is always good.
The floor is going to be fine.
What their ceiling is will be determined by who that second guy can be when it comes down to nut crunching time. And at least the old previous version of Jaylen Brown proved to be extremely effective in that role in the 2024 run, when he was, just absolutely out of control as a scorer during that run.
Yeah. The difference between 2024 was like, we had 3 kind of like this Knicks run. We had 3 guys just kind of enter God,
elite
3-point shooting.
Yeah, sure. Like, and also the team was pretty fucking stacked, and like extremely the stretch 5 element made them really hard to guard. And honestly, even though I'm like excited to watch Jaylen on the Sixers, like Jaylen was, people pointed this out, like he was like massively more athletic 2 or 3 years ago.
Do you think you guys could trade for Al Horford? Just something that I was just thinking of.
First off, I don't know if you're aware of what's happening with Al Horford. First off, no, because I would literally rather kill myself than have that happen, because I think that it would be the worst thing that's ever happened. But dude, I already have fears that like this is just the 2019-2020 offseason.
I understand that's like
I have too much traumatizing stuff.
I understand that's traumatizing. I think he would kind of like,
would be I thought about this, and it would personally kill you. Yeah, is that if the Rockets just have a disaster year next year, and then we trade Anthony Simons with seconds for Marcus Smart?
I mean, he'd be awesome for you guys.
I'm not even kidding. Smart with all of his flaws. I watch this free agent, and I'm not you when it comes to Marcus Smart.
No, you're a little more level-headed, but
I watch this free agency class, and I know that he's older, and I know that he has his injury concerns and all that and whatever. Yeah. I watch this free agency class, and I'm like, every player that got more money than Marcus Smart is not better than Marcus Smart outside of like the obviously good players. Like I'm like, Zach Collins got the same amount as Marcus Smart.
Crazy. That's insane.
Like every player I saw, Colin Sexton, the Lakers signed Colin Sexton to replace Marcus Smart, and I'm like, he is not better than Marcus Smart. Like,
well, especially like honestly, give Nick Nurse Marcus Smart. Like, that's kind of a demon, dude.
The difference, and this is because people are going to say, well, you've said we don't need more guards. Like, why do you keep Marcus Smart is functionally a wing at this point?
I was going to say, honestly, he's been a shooting guard. We had a joke about, we had the Marcus Smart, what we called the Marcus Smart effectiveness thing. And point guard was number 1. The second was power forward. He's a good power forward, and then 3rd center, 4th shooting guard, 5th small forward. Like he's but
that's
good.
why he works with stars. Like even if he has the decision making question marks and the shooting question marks, like he's gonna do the stuff that you want your role players to do, and that's why he works on like the Lakers and used to work on the Celtics, but he doesn't work on a team like the fucking Rockets. I feel like
honestly, he would be a really good starter for you guys at the power power forward position. Like I'm not kidding.
We don't get
yeah.
LeBron. We trade for Marcus Smart, and then we're like, remember when I said Embiid in all guards? This is what I meant.
Literally, if you let him be operate like basically be your de facto like small power forward with like floor stretching Embiid, he would be a fucking demon. Like I'm not kidding. He would understand where everybody needs to be. Like Embiid stretching the floor. Like he's already played with Jaylen Brown. He knows Jaylen's spots. Like Maxey, he would lights out transition passer, like hitting Maxey off made buckets. Like
I'm telling you, I think the Lakers.
The Lakers fucked up. I mean,
I think we're going to save our full spiel on this for this, but I want to talk about some free agent moves that have happened since we last talked, and overall just zoom out a little bit on free agency because the big takeaway I had from this free agent class was that the centers were like. I'm fine with Huck Porty, and I think you guys should be fine with the Mitchell Robinson thing.
Yeah,
especially because it makes the Knicks worse. Like, because
it does. Yeah.
To be clear, Mitchell Robinson kind of sucked in the playoffs this year. In the past, he's been really effective. This year, he was
especially against us too. Like,
I was going to say, he killed the Sixers. He always kills the Sixers.
Well, this is why Celtics fans think he's better than he is because we just. We'll have like trauma flashbacks to 2025 when he just like big dicked us like in a massive way.
He did that to the Sixers in 2024. Honestly, one of the reasons, and we've talked about this before, like one of the reasons why the Sixers waived Paul Reed, who's turned out to be probably would have been the best backup center we could have had during the Joel Embiid era, was because Mitchell Robinson just made him look like a complete fool in that series. Like he just like owned him, and we were like, we can't. This isn't tenable. Like if we get to the playoffs, we need to have someone bigger. We go out and we sign Drummond, who, funny enough, is now on the Knicks. After we took Huck Porty, you guys took Mitchell Robinson, and I think they thought that Huck Porty was going to be the replacement for Mitchell Robinson when he left, and they seem to like Huck Porty. He's just a foul machine, and like I'm a little bit worried about having to rely on a guy like that. But now they're then having to go get Andre Drummond, who, as I said before, I love, but is just not someone you can rely on a night-to-night basis anymore. His rim protection is gone. He's just like the funniest part of his game is that he's kind of a corner three-point shooter now. But you can't really. But what were the Knicks going to do? Like Kayvon Looney just got oh my God. Kayvon Looney is 29, and like if you watch him play, you're like he looks 45.
Dude, I know we're not going to talk about it. Like if I were a Lakers fan and we just had this offseason, I would be in the hospiason. Yeah, like dude, I like straight up. Like
this is. I think they got worse. Like
they did. They objectively got worse. Like. Didn't Rui went to the Clippers? That's a disaster, dude. That's a fucking disaster.
Okay.
Marcus Smart is so bad, like for no reason. Like,
I understand the Rui thing a little bit, only because you were now for the regular season. I think that he would be obviously a helpful player, and he's been a demon shooter in the playoffs. He's literally like the greatest 3-point shooter
of all time. Yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah. But it's literally all he can do. And when you have your best players as Luka and Reeves, you want to put guys like Marcus Smart and like even Quentin Grimes, who like drove me crazy and was wildly inconsistent and has been throughout his career and is delusional about who he is as a player, makes more sense around those guys than someone like Colin Sexton or even like a better player like Rui Hachimura.
Yeah.
The Lakers offense is going to be really good next year. You know what? The Lakers offense would have been good no matter fucking what. Like it's always really good. Your job is to make sure that they have enough defensive insulation around that backcourt. And it's a massive fucking risk on this Walker Kessler thing.
That is so cool. It was a signing trade. I still can't get over that. Like, I'm not kidding.
Ainge had him over a barrel, dude. He had him over a barrel.
That's such a crazy thing to do, dude. Like I think this is like so much. I feel so much worse about this than I felt about the Rudy Gobert trade at the time. I can't think of a. Like I kind of talked myself into the Rudy Gobert trade by the time we recorded. And it turned out to be like not that bad. Like it ended up being a totally fine deal. It was very scary, but like because it could have turned into like a Nets like type thing. But fucking this could be horrific, dude. Like this could be a Nets trade. Like there are scenarios where this is a Nets trade level disaster. Like,
well, let's just be clear here. Luka only has 2 years left on his contract.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are you doing this?
I had a prediction for this.
Yeah.
Which was this was my thought on this. Yeah. Like I do not know how they didn't fire Pelinka before he could do shit like this. Like if I were a new owner and I took over a team, I would be like, what exactly have you done? You lucked into, like, let's just zoom out on the Rob Pelinka thing. When we do a Rob Pelinka slop trial, the luckiest GM in the history of the NBA. And it's
him, Bob Myers 1-2. Like him, Bob Myers 1-2. Like
at least Bob Myers drafted Draymond in the second round. He did draft Draymond.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
And signed Iguodala with the MLE. Like he did things that helped them go from a very, very good team to a championship level team. Now that might have happened either way, but like I don't know if they're winning that many titles without those little fringe moves that help you really catapult into like another tier of team.
I'm going to the camera. Mr. Rich Paul. We are willing to do an extensive amount of propaganda about how the Russell Westbrook trade, LeBron had no involvement of that. And that was a Rob Pelinka 100%. This is what I believe that now.
I actually I was more like LeBron and his camp were pushing for it. But now that I've seen the big picture here with Rob Pelinka, I think he's just a bozo. And I think that, and to be clear, Walker Kessler is going to be great for the Lakers when he's healthy. Like Luka turns, no. Here's why. Okay. Luka turns scrubs into like good players. If he takes even a middle of the road center like Walker Kessler, he'll be a top 10 impact guy, I'm sure, in terms of starting centers. And we did just talk about how it's really hard to get starting centers. Yeah. It still doesn't mean that you give him the max that he can get, give away all of your draft capital to do it, and then completely get rid of your team from the previous season and just bring back Luka, Reeves, and then Mamu, Grimes, Sexton. Like these guys are not, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But I just want to go back, like zoom out on the Rob Pelinka thing.
Sure.
He gets the job. He doesn't really do anything to start. Like he's kind of just like, doing little things here and there. Sure. If I remember correctly, I think he got the job in 2017. So before the Lonzo, I might be wrong, but I think it was before the Lonzo Ball draft. What?
I'm laughing at Vamp's comment.
Sounds like Botox. Vamp is a Lakers fan, so yeah.
Okay. It's fair. Yeah.
Also, like, I just want to be clear here. It is the Lakers will win a lot of regular season games because JJ's a good coach.
JJ. I forget about Demon. Yeah, JJ's Demon JJ will.
Demon JJ. They have two guys that can run offense, and even if Reeves isn't, fucking all NBA player, he'll be good in the regular season.
If I were JJ, I would try to get out of there, man. I'm not kidding. I understand you have Luka Doncic and it's like the Lakers job. I would try to pivot to getting what's a young up and coming team that
my thought has been, I wonder if he gets to the point where he's just waiting up Pelinka and he's like, let me run the fucking team. This guy has no idea what he's doing. I'm wondering
if he wants the Brad Stevens, the early Brad Stevens.
Yeah, I think that I think that he will get so frustrated coaching this team. Like, I think that he's going to get to a point where because you're just up against an impossible task with the Spurs and the Thunder being in your way. And to be clear, just like the Sixers, there was no getting the Lakers above the Spurs and Thunder this offseason, but you could have at least made reasonable moves and given yourselves a chance to make other moves in the future. Now you've locked yourself into this team, and I just want to do, once again, the Rob Pelinka zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
They get LeBron James to fucking sign there in his prime. He then recruits Anthony Davis. Yeah. The scout team finds guys like Kyle Kuzma and Caruso.
Yeah, all those guys were on the roster basically too when he took over.
Well, if I remember correctly, he did draft, he was there for drafts, but their scout team was famous for finding gems during this era.
I was going to say they have a crazy stretch right before LeBron came where they
Josh
got
Hart, Kuzma, they're
good what's his name? He's a junior. Larry Nance,
Larry Nance
20-something bit. Kuzma, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson.
Mo Wagner actually turned out to be a pretty decent, like 28th pick in the draft or whatever he was.
Jordan Clarkson as a second round pick was really a world champion. Jordan Clarkson. Let me amend that. I
was gonna say, Jordan. We talked about the Caruso undrafted. They were really good at doing that during that time period. And
honestly, King Julius was not a bad 7th pick.
So now it's like, all of their picks from that era are fine.
Yeah.
You can nitpick over like Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, but they were similar level prospects at the time. Everyone thought Ingram was better.
Letting the word get out that you were going to take Lonzo, that gave the Celtics the ability to trade back.
That was Magic Johnson. That was really stupid. That was really dumb. But that was Pelinka was part of that front office, if I remember correctly. Yeah. They drafted Zubats too in the second round. They had this stretch where they were just like incredible, and he inherited the team right after that. Turned it into Anthony Davis, okay, but LeBron was the one who fucking recruited Anthony Davis there. Yes. He at least signed Danny Green and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Those are kind of like the things. If you want to talk about getting a team over the top, they did need to have normal role players.
Wasn't KCP like in legal trouble? Didn't like KCP have like an ankle monitor? And
when he was kind of
part of the reason. That was kind of part of the reason that they were able to get him was because of that.
Was he on the Lakers or the Pistons? I thought he was on the Lakers when that happened.
I think he was though, but I'm saying I think it was that offseason that he got.
They might have got him on a scam contract.
Yeah. I think they got him on a scam contract because I think he was. I think that had something to do with it.
They got him the year before LeBron got there. That was like their first like real, because there's that famous clip of like, we this guy fell from the heavens for us, and he's like reading a Bible quote, and he's he's cool. Just ridiculous. Anyway, awesome. So just a recap here. Like, okay, so then they win, and then he completely is like, we need more creators because LeBron's old and we want to save him.
Yeah,
it is insanely bad luck to have drafted Austin Reeves in 2021 and then still do the Dennis Schroeder, Danny Green trade and give up your first round pick in that draft to do it, because that was a disaster for them. And they could have literally just sat back, got Reeves, had him be that guy. What?
One other thing too, that could have been way worse. Remember they offered him like a $48 million contract and he didn't take it.
Like, dude, it was an $80 million
contract and he didn't take it. Like,
and then he lost so much money. So they tried to give him that extension. He didn't take it. He bet on himself and he lost.
Yeah.
And then the Westbrook thing happens, whatever. Yeah. And then years of just mediocrity. You make another conference finals because you kind of get bailed out at the 2023 deadline. Yeah. And then on top of all of this, like Luka just drops in your lap. And I'm like, good for you for negotiating this man's bender that he was on, where he just lost his mind temporarily and decided to trade you Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. But I would be like, you talk about, at least they won the championship so you can cope. But Lakers fans winning a championship is like me making the Eastern Conference Finals. Like it is like, that's like the thing that I shouldn't even say that. It's like, Lakers fans winning the championship is like the Sixers winning a playoff series in terms of like, you're not going to satiate the craving that they have to win multiple championships if you win one, because of their history is just so much higher than every team except for the Celtics.
I do think that going into the pits did reignite that like a little bit. Like I'll give Lakers fans this. We have been way more spoiled as a franchise than Lakers fans have.
For sure.
They did have to do their like shift in the dog shit minds as it was. I mean, I think the
Westbrook, they let Caruso walk to sign THT and they made the Westbrook trade. Like we'll do a soft trial on him eventually. We'll go through every move when he's fired a year from now. But this is how I predict this to go. Yeah. I think the Lakers are going to be still a good regular season team. I think they're going to score a ton of points. I think that JJ will have them in the 45 to 50 win range for this season. Yep. And then I think that they're ultimately going to have a ceiling of making it to the second round, because they're going to face one of the Spurs or the Thunder. And as long as they're relatively healthy, they're going to lose to those teams. And then I think that we're going to get Luka rumors about him wanting a different team and, things not really going their way. And hold on, let me continue.
Okay.
Then they're going to panic trade Austin Reeves a year from now for whoever they can get to make that team make more sense. And by the way, I do think that if I was a team out there, like teams are just interested in signing him in free agency. I know he's getting a little bit overpaid right now. He's probably more like a $30-35 million player than like a $40 million player, but he's a good player. And I would absolutely be interested in him
He's a better player than Emmanuel Quickly.
I'm just saying, if I had the ability to pay to get Austin Reeves and I just had like a few wings, or like not like top level wings, but like good forwards that just made more sense on the Lakers, then I would absolutely be interested in something like that. But I talked about it with Harrison last week when all these moves happened. Like, I just think that this could have closed their window unless they get some crazy luck here.
I don't even think their window ever like really.
That's the problem.
Totally is, and it's an insane thing to do when you got Luka Doncic for like a dying Anthony Davis, essentially. Like it's so crazy.
That was your life raft,
and they fucked it up. It's the crazy part. The other thing that's crazy is it's like I kept joking about the Celtics breaking the caucasity meter this offseason. They literally did that. I'm sorry. I understand that this is a little reductive. There is something to be said for too many white guys. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if there's too many white guys, that is a fucking problem. Like, you're not a serious team at a certain point. You especially can't have JJ Redick coaching that team. Okay.
It's a little bit too Duke coded for.
Yeah.
Well, and like,
who do they think they are? Us? That's a joke for all the people who hate the Celtics,
folks. Who, like, have you ever seen a team have 5 starters in a playoff series that won a playoff series get rid of every single one?
It's so crazy, dude.
Everyone is gone. Even the Cavaliers, after LeBron left, still had guys hanging around.
Yeah, like Antoine Jameson was still on the roster for like another year, right?
I was talking about 2018, 2010. I'm probably sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was Jamario Moon still hanging around, and Antoine Jameson, and
yeah, those guys were still there. Was Jamario Moon on the 2009 squad?
I can't remember.
10 squad. I can't remember. Yeah. Big Z definitely was.
Yeah, he was. Judas Ilgauskas was still around.
What's his name? The Brazilian guy.
Varejao.
Anderson Varejao. Yeah, was also. Is he?
By
Brazilian?
the way,
I know you knew who I meant, but I could have gotten that wrong.
I think he is Brazilian. I think you're right.
Okay,
Anderson Varejao. Yeah. I saw a video of this. Is actually incredible because I saw, obviously people have been sharing with LeBron potentially going back to Cleveland. They've been sharing videos of LeBron getting introduced when he came back to the Cavs.
Yes.
And do you know what their starting 5 was when he came back?
Oh, this is such a good. Hold on, let me guess. I think I can do this. So Kyrie.
Yes.
I think they had Kevin Love in there when they started. Yep. So Kevin Love was the other one.
Those two, and then
I think they brought Tristan Thompson off the bench.
Correct.
So who was the starter? Timofey Mozgov was the starter at that point?
Not until later. No.
Oh, okay. It wasn't.
This was his first game back.
First game back, and it wasn't Mozgov.
It was a recent Cavaliers draft pick that was starting at one of the spots. So think about those Cavs drafts for a few years during the non-LeBron.
Was Iman Shumpert?
That's a great guess. That's a great guess. It was not Iman Shumpert.
It was not Iman Shumpert.
No. Iman Shumpert would make infinitely more sense than the player I'm about to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm trying to remember what David Blatt was cooking. It was a pick from around that time. I don't know. I give up, unfortunately.
It was Dion Waiters.
That's right, Dion Waiters. Goddamn.
Dion Waiters was the starting shooting guard when LeBron got back before they replaced him.
That's so good. Who's the center? I'm so curious about this.
No, well, it was Varejao. I just brought it up.
Oh, it was Anderson Varejao. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That's kind of a fun full circle thing that Varejao was still there.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure that he was either still there or he came back. I can't remember.
Doug, I want to say something. Anderson Varejao, one of our all-time vampires, just in terms of like having the Paul Rudd,
Never gets old.
Yeah, never gets old. What's the No Doubt lead singer? Gwen Stefani.
Stefani,
He, one of those guys, because he still looked like he was like 23, like when LeBron came back, and he was like 32 or something.
He
like
had
that.
to be. Yeah. I'm gonna look this up right now.
Yeah.
He looks closer to his age now. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But he's 44 now. So
43, I think.
43. Yeah.
Why do I know that? You remember he was born in I think he was born in September of 1982. Which is like a very. I don't know why I knew that. Oh, okay. There we go. I don't know why I know that. Again,
I'm reading.
Throw back to the Dwayne Dedman cap hit. Fucking. Well, I could have been like, that should be my nephew's favorite food. And instead it's Anderson Varejão's birthday.
Someone pointed this out, but when we were in the panic of the Jaylen Brown Paul George trade, when Santi got traded, someone goes, "How the fuck did you remember that the Warriors pick that was in that trade was like a fake first?" And I was like,
"Yeah, I know."
Well, of course, because it was in the Jordan Poole, Chris Paul salary dump, and then it was in the Anthony Davis trade. So how could I ever forget that was? And by the way, it is absolute pervert mode for Masai to go there and just acquire another power forward and draft another power forward.
He's such a pervert. Dude. He's such a pervert.
It's so perverted to keep doing this. I get it. I understand that. I think that that's a really good value trade for them. Like, I think that we just saw, even if Santi's like a flawed player and like,
sure,
he's on a decent contract and like was in kind of a weird situation this past year with the Grizzlies where they were just kind of in purgatory the last 2 years. And then on top of that, like,
shoot too. Like,
he's a shaky shooter, but he's kind of good. He's a good enough shooter and he's a willing shooter. And then on top of that, he does like a little bit with the ball. He's 6'10", 6'11", and can handle and pass. And like we've talked about, like, honestly, I've determined this. If Nate Amen is good, then I'm just any tall guy with a handle, I'm just saying is good forever in the draft from now on. Because I made this mistake. And by the way, he's not nearly as like fluid and flexible as Matas Buzelis, right? But like Matas was a guy 2 years ago where that was the case. Who are you? Why are you side-eyeing?
I'm trying to do the Nate Amen.
Oh, the
eyebrow. I don't think I can do it. So.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
Yeah.
What's going on here? That was weird. But you look like Zoolander.
Yeah.
You're there. Me so hard. So what I was gonna say was speaking of like tall guys with handles.
Yeah.
Jaeger Doman has been crushing it in summer league, and I'm just like,
if he's good, that's really funny. Unfortunately, I'm the most owned anyone's ever.
No, been. we have an actual clip that I'm sure someone can find from that cycle where you were like, Matas Buzelis. I was like, not really that sure. If Jaeger Doman's good, I don't know fucking shit about this. And I was like, I remember at the time agreeing with you because I didn't think that he could shoot at all. And now, like, I'm watching these clips and I'm like, wait, this guy's just like a good shoot. Like, where did this come from? Like, his year at college, like, once again, obviously small sample, he had the ball a ton, but like everything about his game was predicated on like if he could shoot, but he hadn't shown really no ability to shoot. Like,
his shot looked fucked up, kind of too. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, own me, like drag me. Good for Jaeger Doman. Like, the Nets fans need this win 100%.
But being good in the second year of summer league is the requirement, bare minimum. Like, if you're going, you should be too good for summer league, and if you aren't, that's when. Like, if Noah Essengay is terrible in summer league, it's over for him. Yeah. Like, and honestly, it's very funny because Cody Williams is owning year 3 of summer league right now.
Let's go, dude.
And I'm like, he was not good in his second year. I'm expecting him to be destroying in third year of summer league, but it's not an indicator. I will say early summer league returns, pretty much all the rookies have been pretty good when I've watched. Acuff had a really tough first game and defensively has been about what you would expect. But, you know, we have to ask ourselves a question.
Okay.
We just talked about the Walker Kessler trade and how Ainge had him over a barrel.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of the Jazz first 2 summer league games, and Peterson
is what I was hoping for.
Peterson he had like 8 turnovers or something in the first game. The handle looked a little loose, but he also just did what we wanted him to do, but like consistently throughout both of these games, which was like the thing in college is like he'd have these amazing like bursts where it's like the beginning of the Kansas game where like he played for Kansas.
I was gonna say
they played against each other. There was an intramural scrimmage. No, the beginning of the BYU game where he just came out and he just took AJ's head off. Which, by the way, tomorrow night I'm going to be seated for AJ versus Darren Peterson. Yeah. But I just saw in these two games like the ability to get anywhere he wants on the court. The shot making was crazy. The second game, the playmaking was better. He's a good defender. And all of the people that were the highest on him might end up being vindicated because the Kansas situation was weird. He obviously did not really give a fuck. It felt like, and also his body was just kind of like betraying him. So obviously we need to see that hold up over an extended period of time. But I ended up having him third on my board behind both Boozer and AJ.
You still might be right about all these guys are good. I just think all these guys are good. Yeah,
this was an extremely good top three. Like I'm not saying that.
I even think Caleb Wilson. I still believe in Caleb Wilson quite a bit. I'm going to be honest, but anyway, sorry.
I think Caleb is in my estimation a little bit below those guys, but not. Yeah. It's not a massive gap. It's not like the first pick and the seventh pick.
I think he has a shot to be a franchise player. I think all four of these guys could genuinely be franchise players.
I would say those three guys all had an argument for one. I would say Caleb in an average draft is like your number 2 pick.
Yeah.
And the guys that like those three guys, like Boozer, I mean, he was just also extremely good in this. Like everyone's like, I don't know if he's going to be able to like shoot. And then I'm like, he's taking pull-up threes already. He has a mid-range bag already. And it's just, he makes every right decision.
The Boozer thing, if there's a thing that I'm going to get mad about at this draft, it's that Boozer didn't go number 1. I still feel very confident that Boozer is going to be the best player in this draft, just because I just don't think he can fucking fail. Like maybe one of these other guys is like better, but I just feel like I don't know. Like you're not going to talk me out of this. It's how I felt about Luka. Like honestly, it's like it reminds me of that draft cycle when everyone was like, "Well, I don't know about like Luka with some of the others." I'm like, what are you talking about? This is the best player in the draft. Like,
there's always the underrated ceiling guy, but it's very rare that it's someone who legitimately has a case for the first pick in the draft. Yeah. Like most of the underrated ceiling guys are guys that you find out. Like I thought Kingston Flemings was an underrated ceiling guy.
Yeah, sure.
And he went like 8th, and I'm like, okay, like extremely good athlete, can get anywhere he wants on the court. He has the size concerns, yes, and he has the scoring concerns, yes, but he reads the game at such a high level. He's going to be a good shooter in time. Like, to me, he was kind of a can't-fail prospect, very similar to how I felt about Khan last year. Kingston Flemings was my version of Khan this year, basically, or VJ. Yeah. But it's very rare that you get that guy who, like, arguably should have went 1 and ended up going 3 in a draft that has 3 guys that could end up being franchise guys. Yeah. And all I'm going to say is I'm interested in Utah because if Peterson is good right away, like he's obviously going to have his flaws. Like everyone struggles a little bit as a rookie, like whatever. If he comes in right away with their spacing, with Hardy as coach, they're going to have like, I mean, they will have Wash Nurkic starting for them. So they're definitely going to be a struggle on defense, and there's going to be reasons to concern with that team, the passing, all that stuff, rim pressure stuff. But if he's really good right away, like Utah is throwing their hat in the ring. And someone said, this was Leonard in our Discord, who's our Celtics fan from Germany in the Discord, said, he came in and he said, I like the Jazz's future from now on better than the Thunder. And I tagged it with the Sam Sheehan logo.
Oh my God.
In there.
Did he not know? Did he know?
Didn't know. I don't think he knew that you said that back in 2022.
He didn't know that is probably the most infamous soundbite any of us have given, right? That's the most wrong anyone's ever been on the podcast, right?
I'm sure if you scoured through, you could find some. I'm sure I said some pretty out of pocket things about players that became really good. I mean, there was a year where we were just like, does Cade Cunningham suck? Like, why are the Pistons this bad?
Was it the James Harden? What was the deadline where you banged Brandon Ingram, DeJounte Murray, Cope? Really had me scared for you.
Oh yeah, that's
like the most alarmed I've ever been. Like in your basketball mind.
I guess you haven't been in the Discord the last 2 days then.
Okay, yeah, I guess I haven't.
Do you know what my new screen name is?
No, what is it?
Defensive event creator fan, and it's my photo is Matisse Thybulle.
Oh no, no. The thing is, you guys have Nick Nurse. That's my thing. Is it's like if you don't have good defensive personnel, who's a better coach to have than Nick Nurse?
That is true. Yes. But also, I will ask you this question.
Yes.
When did Nick Nurse not have good defensive personnel?
That's also true. Yeah.
I'm like, he always has had these rosters that had near all defense level guys. And to his credit, he turned Oubre into a much better defender than he was in the past. Yeah. And I mean, I've said, I think Nick Nurse is going to be over the fucking moon about Jaylen Brown. Like, he is the Kawhi Leonard of Kelly Oubre's. Like, he is literally he is like Nick Nurse's dream player, except for the fact that he doesn't get steals and blocks at the same rate as someone like Oubre. But the Matisse Thybulle thing, just real quick, the only reason that I brought this up was because I was like, I just want guys, if your whole identity is going to be we're going to run, because that's obviously the case with this team. Like, they want to have the best transition offense in the NBA next year, and they want to build from there. And so when Joel misses time, they have an identity they can do. Like Huck Porty, even if you, I was watching Ariel Huck Porty G League highlights that Parm sent me, because I was like, what do I have to look forward to here? And he was like, he's kind of a demon in the G League. And I'm like, all right. And one of the things that he does really well is he runs the floor. Like, he's like, he gets and goes. And the Sixers obviously want to do that. Even if Thybulle plays 30, 40 games a year on a vet minimum contract, bro, I know I've been the biggest Matisse Thybulle hater in the past. In the regular season, like, let me just real quick. Do you want to guess how many steals per 36 minutes Matisse Thybulle has had the last 2 years, just in the brief amount of time that he's played?
I was so happy when you were doing Marcus Smart's flowers. And this conversation is putting that all in a totally different light. Like, this is like when you, again, let me fill out for a second here. This is like when a girl is telling you how handsome you are at the bar, and she starts going through her like pictures of her like ex-boyfriends. And
he's ugly as shit.
Yeah, they all just are horrendous.
Oh, you look just like my ex, and you're exactly. Like, why did you show me this information?
Exactly. Yeah. No. Anyway, I'm gonna guess he has 4 steals per. Yeah.
4.2 steals per 36. 4.2 steals and 1.1 blocks. I swear to God, I'm like, I'm losing my mind a little bit, but it's also like, I'm like, if you just have guys who turn other teams over, and then you have 3 of the best transition players in the NBA, and if you can add LeBron James 4, then you're going to just farm regular season wins.
I'll say this, that concept, I agree with that concept. I don't know if Matisse Thybulle is the turnover machine.
They don't have turnover guys, though.
Yeah.
Maxi's really the only one. Maxi, and then maybe VJ can make the leap next year.
Jaylen Brown's not bad at it.
He is, though. Like, for his archetype, like, for the like defensive on-ball wing, he just doesn't generate turnovers. He's good as a one-on-one defender and like locking guys up, but he just doesn't, like, Dean Wade influences turnovers a little bit better than him. I think VJ does, but like, one of the things that, even with all of the stuff that we went through with the frustrations with Paul George and Oubre, is they turn guys over, and that led to easy offense for us.
I'm about to fix your problem, by the way, but keep talking.
And I just want to, like, the guys that we're counting on that for next year is like Dean Wade, Maxi maybe being a little bit more aggressive like he was this past year, VJ taking a step in that direction, and then Dalen Terry is the other guy who is like kind of like that, but he's kind of like a Thybulle type, to be honest. He can pass a little bit more and handle a little bit more, but he's like a defensive guy that can turn teams over, get you out running, but is extremely limited as a scorer. Like, he's basically just a spot up guy on offense. Who are you looking for?
Okay.
Were you looking at the free agency class to see who has the best steal rate left?
No. I'm getting on the phone right now. I'm calling up the Tulane Green Wave. And I'm saying, you guys have an assistant coach there who needs to come back into the league for our Philadelphia 76ers. RJ Hunter is the man this Philadelphia 76ers roster needs right now.
I could have never seen this coming. How could I possibly have predicted that you were going to call on RJ Hunter to fix the Sixers?
What I was reading is I was reading on his Wikipedia that apparently he is the god. What is this relationship? He and his older sister Jasmine are close. Hunter's godfather is 15-year-old NBA veteran Ron Harper. So Ron Harper is RJ Hunter's thing. Look at how good Ron Harper Jr. is, and look at how good Dylan Harper is.
Well, I mean, Ron Harper was one of the best defensive players in the NBA.
This is what I'm saying. And RJ Hunter that's his godfather, which is the next best thing to a biological father.
Yeah, so, you just told me I was losing my mind. I just want to point that out.
I'm just saying, RJ Hunter, I still believe, even though RJ Hunter has been coaching at Tulane for 2 years, I still believe in the comeback here for him.
Oh, I thought you meant bring him in as a coach.
No.
As a player?
He needs to be on the floor. He needs to hang out. This is like a sports movie when it's like, no, I'm giving that up. I'm coaching now. And it's like, no. Yeah, dude, look up his steals rate in the 2015 draft. He was a demon, dude. He was a demon in the 2015 draft. His steal rate was good. Now, I was at my most parm during the 2015 draft, and I was so excited that we got RJ Hunter, man. I was so like, I literally, something I said in the Celtics subreddit is I said, if we took RJ Hunter with the 15th pick and Terry Rozier with
you
flipped it, I would have felt. You told me that. I said I would have said we had a great draft.
Yeah.
So
I love that coat. But yeah, you met me at a very parm time of my life.
Literally, yeah.
You're just playing highlights of RJ Hunter.
RJ Hunter, dude.
Playing in the
I can't believe the big issue was we waived him instead of James Young during the roster crunch, and he would have been an NBA player if we hadn't done that.
Ruined his life, Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
Well, by the way,
Brad Stevens' fault, by the way, but yeah.
Anyway, so real quick before we're over 2 hours, so you don't have to say yes to this, but is there any other team in free agency that you just thought like, what are they doing, or like you really like their free agency? Because we'll get into the offseason more.
Yeah,
the team that I was the most confused by was the Pistons.
I have to look at some of the things. I thought what the Trailblazers did was very weird. I kind of kept expecting them to make another move, and they just didn't.
They just traded. Like, I'm not saying that Jeremy Grant, especially on that contract,
no,
or Chris Murray were good, helpful players. But
I don't think it was like bad necessarily, but it was like very weird. Like, why did you get another guard?
It was weird to be like, we're going to get John. I guess we talked about the Marcus Smart thing. Maybe they just view this version of Drew Holiday as a wing. Yeah, and they're just like, but they still have Shaden and Scoot and Ja and Dame and Drew.
They have 5 guys who are going to want to start, like fairly or unfairly. I understand Scoot probably sucks, but like, these are 5 guys who see themselves as starters, and 2 of them are like not going to be in the rotation, possibly. I don't know. It's very weird.
Very, very strange. But I guess I don't really know what the Pistons should have done. Yeah. Because the Jaylen Duren thing just held them up, and like Isaiah Joe trade was fine. I'm a little lukewarm on the John Collins thing, just because it feels like when you're signing guys like Isaiah Joe and John Collins, you're just being like, let's lean further into Cade Ball, which has shown that it has a really good regular season ceiling and maybe a limited playoff ceiling, because you just can't ask so much from one guy anymore. And I feel like this is a big bet on Okori being instantly playable unless another move is coming. Yeah. But like, everyone's like, well, they should have traded for like every player they get linked to. I'm like, Trey Murphy doesn't do anything for that, and they're going to have to overpay for him.
Well, I think Michael Porter Jr. was probably the best thing, and it sounds like the Nets were kind of asking for an arm and a leg on that. Like,
and like, and the other guys that I feel like they could have like everyone's like, oh, just go trade for Kyrie, and I'm like, the Mavericks added veterans. The Mavericks didn't like Masai is not going.
He's so funny, dude. Dude, if this works, I'm bowing down to the Masai God, dude.
To be fair, they don't have their draft picks. So like them going backwards doesn't make as much sense for a team. I just figured contract wise, they would want to get off some money instead of bringing in more money.
They're so cool. I'm fascinated by the Mavericks. Like though they will be bad. I think they have kind of a 0% chance of making the playoffs. But if they are if they're in the playoff, like if they're in the play-in mix, I bow to Masai God, dude. Like he's say what you will about Masai. I respect that he is like a different type of GM. You know what I'm saying? Like I am so disgusted by like the Brad Stevenses and like the Sam Presties of the world. It's just like
it's
easy
you went to farm EPM.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like gross. You're I'm not impressed by any of that. Yeah. Do whatever. Demon Masai put his hog on the table for Kawhi Leonard in one of the ballsiest fucking moves of all time, and he's like, yeah, you know what? Cooper Flagg's my best player. Let me get 9 billion power forwards. let me like that. That's awesome to me. Like he's the god, and I hope it works.
I
hope they play Santi at the 2. Like
they honest. I'm not even kidding. They're going to play a jumbo ball lineups. It's going to be very interesting hoops. Just real quick. Zach brought this up and he was like, and to be clear, this was ultimately Masai's downfall with the Raptors was that Masai. Basically what Zach was saying was like they viewed it as, I think it was Zach said, like we can get guards. Like guards have, as we've shown, have just not been valued by the NBA and by any team except for the Sixers.
And they might be but that's kind of a good bet. I kind of agree with that bet a little bit.
I get it. I understand that. But there's also a point that you hit, and that's where he hit with the Raptors, where it worked, and then he thought that was just a cycle that you could do over and over again, a formula you could use over and over again. And now they need to get to a point where, like, when they're at like a crunch and they have 7 wings, they need to realize, like, hey, we could trade one of these guys for a guard and not do what they did with the Raptors, where they just waited until it was too late for that. And then they sold low on OG Anunoby relative to what his value ended up becoming.
And Pascal a little bit too, to be totally
No, they definitely, I mean, they traded Pascal for salary filler and draft picks, which they then turned into Brandon Ingram, but then eventually turned into Kawhi, but had to add more draft capital to do it. So it's like, and it's also a much older, less available version of Kawhi, even though I obviously would have done that move 100 times out of 100 if I were the Raptors. But real quick, the last team I just wanted to talk about, because we're going to do our full grading the offseason podcast next week. The last team I wanted to talk about that just had a very interesting thing happen was the Warriors, where I never got to finish with what they did with Horford. They gave Horford $1 million more and a player option next year. And I'm like, he's 40 years old. And so like, I think that the idea was, and Horford played well at the end of the season last year. And so they were like, well, we'll get him to have a spacing big for LeBron, and then we'll bring Porzingis back on this $20 million contract. So if he's healthy, great. If not, we have tradable salary. And then they use their MLE on DeAnthony Melton. And I love DeAnthony Melton, and I definitely think he's absolutely worth the 5.
I missed that. I'm going to be honest. I had no idea that happened.
So they gave
the full MLE or the taxpayer.
They only give him 5.5, the taxpayer.
Yeah.
But this is what happens. Okay, ready? When you do all those moves in a row, even with Draymond opting out, like obviously Draymond opts out and we're waiting to hear like what's going on with his contract. They basically put themselves in this position where they got locked at the apron because
what move did that?
It was the DeAnthony Melton non-taxpayer MLE. If you use
non-taxpayer
MLE,
I thought you were saying taxpayer. I'm sorry. You're correct.
They used the taxpayer MLE, got locked at the apron, and then Memphis.
That doesn't lock you at the apron though.
That's what people were saying happened.
Was it with the full MLE, the big one, is the one that locks you at the first apron.
Well, he only got 2 years. Maybe they use part of it, and if you use any of it, it locks you there.
Maybe, but then you would just use the taxpayer.
Well, either way,
I'll have to find out what's going on.
All I'm telling
there.
you is that the cap nerds that I trust way more than me.
Yeah.
Just don't research this now. Because I just want to talk about this real quick.
Okay, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So Memphis gave Quentin Post a contract with unlikely incentives.
I did see that. I did see that they're probably going to lose Quentin Post.
They did. They're not matching it. They already said that they're not matching it. Which, by the way, like I don't know, maybe Quentin Post, like whatever. Like it's only a 1-year guarantee for Memphis. It's a low risk flyer, but like for a team that was heading in the direction of building a little bit younger over these past few years, drafting Yaxel, Pods, Moody got injured, but Moody. Post in the second round, Richard in the second round. It just felt like our guy Guy Santos.
It was the biannual. That's what happened. Anyway,
there you go.
Sorry, continue.
They used the biannual.
They used the biannual.
Okay,
which is such a weird thing to do. But anyway, go ahead.
Right? Like, why would you? I guess they had to save the money in case LeBron chose to go there.
Sure.
So they were like, we can't. We want to have the money for LeBron. So they basically did this pitch for LeBron, might lose out on LeBron, and then lost Quentin Post to Memphis, who, by the way, I don't know if you've paid attention to Memphis's offseason. They love to do this nerdy, like, we'll give you a little bit of, they're the small bean drafting team.
Yeah.
But
they're the Obamacare health insurance marketplace fucking team. They loved that shit, dude. Like, well, actually, I can compare all of the different. I could select a health plan that works right for me without.
Technically, with these tax credits, it's $200, and then you can see a doctor once a year.
No, this is actually much better than any of the other insurance I'd have.
I want to be clear. I've been on Obamacare for like a decade. It was certainly better before they took away the tax credits. I liked when my health insurance was a fourth the cost than what I pay now. And they took away all of the tax credits. But by the way, critics of this at the time who were on the left said this was going to fucking happen, and they were right.
Yeah.
Medicare for all would fucking not. Anyway.
The leftist podcast.
So anyway, I just thought that was interesting because Memphis has basically done this thing this offseason where they've gotten all of these theoretical stretch bigs to put with Boozer, where like they gave Quentin Post that flyer.
I like that.
They traded for Isaiah Stewart, who has been a little bit of a shooter, but they might think that they can make him into a real shooter in time.
Grit and grind, reborn.
They really are like going to be they're going to be bad, but not in like I don't think they're going to be terrible. I think
I might pick them to make the play-in.
They might be a play-in team. Let's be real. How many teams do you feel are like locks to be play-in teams? And up in the West, it's the opposite in the East, where I feel like 11 teams could make the play-in.
Yeah,
you might even be able to stretch that to 12. And I feel like there's basically. What are you gonna say?
I was saying I want to real quick, if you have time for it, I want to run through it.
Okay.
I think they're better than I think they're going to be better than the Suns.
I actually think I agree. I think the Suns made one of the most confusing moves of the offseason in that Miles Bridges trade. I think that their team makes no fucking sense now.
That's crazy. I don't think I think they kind of got lucky last year. I think they're kind of a prime regression candidate.
I do agree with that. I will say the one move I did like from them was basically taking half of the money that they paid Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal and giving it to Luke Kennard. Like that just made sense. But that's such he's a bench shooter. Like it's not going to change their life.
Move thing. Move mountains. Yeah. This hurts my heart to say. I like their team better than the Pelicans.
I agree.
Yeah, like I think they're probably for right now. I think they're probably going to be better than the I know Kyrie is back, but I think they're probably going to be better than the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to be better than the Clippers. I'm going to be totally honest about that.
Like, for next year, for sure.
For next year. That's 4 teams right there. Now you're at the 11 spot. Like it's
they absolutely
the Jazz. I think they're on a level with the Jazz. I know some people feel stronger about the Jazz than I do, but like
I think they could be better than the Blazers too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like the Grizzlies, I might pick the Grizzlies like
they might be like the 8 seed or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might pick the Grizzlies to make the playoffs, like as it stands right now. But
if they get, I'll say this much.
Yeah.
If Demon Edey, it was just a fucking little blip last year and he's fine this year, they are going to be a much better team than I think even I anticipate. Like with Edey, Boozer, Coward, and just tied to be fair,
Demon Ty Jerome, man, like
they're
calculator rats.
Yeah, they're a bit of a calculator rat team now.
Yeah,
which they got that rep, and I was like, I don't really know about that, and I'm like, no, now they are. Now they're like, they're like all calculator, like I just, if anything, they just drafted like good proven players before, like Desmond Bane was a senior, and like all those, like they had a stretch where they just drafted guys who were just like good proven players, and maybe people conflated that with calculator rat stuff. But I think that this new front office is like extremely, or I shouldn't say new, this new era is like extremely calculator rat pilled, and that will, as we've said before, will just farm regular season wins. Like they will win if everyone is healthy. They have upside of winning like 45 games probably,
for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
I think, I think they're going to be one of my big. I think they're going to be one of my big bets this year. I'm also considering. I'm considering betting big on the Magic again. I think I'm going back to the Magic well, like girlfriend who forgot her boyfriend, like meme. Like, I think I'm going back again. Like,
I like they got a new coach, and he seems to be. He was a Spurs assistant, I think.
Yeah,
and I definitely like them when they're healthy. They've just been a little bit Sixers.
They've got some ceiling to them a little bit. They have a little bit of ceiling to them.
They absolutely could have made the conference finals this last year.
Like if the Celtics played the Magic, I might pick the Magic. I'm going to be totally honest. Like if Franz is right, like
it will be a very determining year for them. I'll say that much.
That's 100. I 100% agree.
I think this is like we got a new coach.
Yeah.
We didn't really do much in the offseason, but I don't really think they needed to. I think they just needed to get healthy. They brought
Paolo Banchero, Austin Reeves trade, feeding families.
I was going to say that I don't think the Lakers would do that, but I do think that we're on the clock for some sort of, if they don't win a playoff series next year, it's like someone is gone from that team. Just from a financial standpoint, they're paying 4 guys like near max money or near max money.
I just feel like Franz was just hurt last year. Like I fucking Desmond Bane proved to me he's still that guy. Like he's still a demon. I think Anthony Black has really shown like that's my guy.
It's just so unfortunate that Suggs. He really is the new Marcus Smart, dude. He is. Yeah. It's so Marcus Smart coded to literally come into that series, and the first 3 games of that series literally swung it in their favor in 2 of the 3 games just by playing game-wrecking defense everywhere. And then Franz gets hurt, and then it's like, oh no, now Suggs takes over, and he shoots like 12% from 3 for the rest of the series.
I mean, that was like a really unfortunate, like, But this is the thing: if Franz doesn't get hurt, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate the matchup against the Knicks. The Knicks would probably win, but like
they've played them really tough. Like they've played them super tough in the playoffs. Or I'm sorry, in the regular season.
That I'm leaning towards that being my big bet. Like next season is like picking the Magic to be like make the like conference finals with like finals upside. Possibly. Like
I just feel like everyone keeps saying these like very you love to say like I don't know, maybe it's just not so definitive like thing. I just feel like the parity in the league has never been more. Teams are being more aggressive trying to get like good or like middling, even like just be competitive because of these new draft lottery rules. So the easy wins aren't there to farm as much as they were before. And then on top of all of that, like all of this just comes down to who's healthy and who's hot at the right time.
So we had me eating shit on the Jazz, but my obvious, I feel like the Jazz are going to be contenders before the Thunder thing. Obviously, one of my worst called shots of all time. I do want someone to go back and pull from like last November or like December, my quote, when like the Thunder had lost like 1 game or whatever, and they were like 27 and 1. Or whatever it was, and everyone was like, is this a new dynasty? And I remember losing my fucking mind on the podcast, like, no, like what are we talking about? Like somebody find that for me, because I have a very distinct memory of being like, why are we like, it felt like the butterfly meme, like, is this a dynasty? Like, no, it's a very good team. And I remember making the point, like, no team has gone back to back. Like, it's just, this is just the parody, like, is what it is. And why did we forget that, like, it looked pretty rough? It looked rougher for the Thunder winning the title last year than it did for the Knicks this year. Like, 100%.
Yeah,
This Knicks title looked a lot more like the Celtics run from 2 years ago.
They cruised to the title. They to be fair, that the Spurs, that was, we joke about the most competitive sweep, one of the most competitive 5-game series of all time.
Yeah,
but the Knicks just did what they did all the time, which is like
that game 4 was like demonic. Like I would be seeing that in my nightmares if I were a Spurs fan.
Of course.
That's like one of the most definitive. Like
I still think the
Spurs might win the series if they win that game 4. Like it's possible.
I still think the most demonic thing of the whole run was the Cavs game 1.
That also was very evil. Like yeah. That was did you say that? That's another clip they should pull. You were on them being the Miami Heat kind of early. I feel like you said that in like 2020 like 4 or something.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely have old clips where I'm like, this team is kind of low key. Like once again, we played them in the playoffs, and I was just like, we should have won these games, and we didn't. And like it was very similar to the because you guys faced it the next year.
Yeah,
we faced it in 2024 where I was just like, it feels like we should be winning these games, but then you guys blew 2 20-point leads the following season because the Sixers had multiple 20-point leads in that series and they lost those games. The Nets, the Celtics did, and then once again, I think the lineage goes Heat, Pacers, Knicks, and the Pacers are thrown back in the mix next year. So we'll see who's got the real devil magic.
We need to invite Caitlin Cooper on because they're like one of the most fascinating. Like she knows ball, and she's one of the.
I was gonna say rearranging of like
their team. I have no idea what to expect from them. Like I know that they will probably be good, but I feel like we are kind of penciling in like, oh, they're going to be like right back to the top. They're a very different team than they were 2 years ago. Like,
well, unfortunately, they waived Makai Potter today, who is the greatest I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. We literally played them twice last year, and I was like, who is this demon? And then they waived him, and I'm like, maybe he sucks. But I think he's also one of those guys that's like, he's actually very funny. They have Jay Huff too, because
that's what that was the demon I was going to mention is Demon Jay Huff, dude.
Well, Potter is like, was basically a rookie last year and was like 28.
Very Pacers coded.
Yeah, he's 28 years old. Yeah, and
the Pacers love having guys that are off their family's health insurance on rookie contracts.
Obi Toppin,
yeah.
I was gonna say the only reason that I bring that up is because he was friends with Joel Embiid on the Olympic team. He was like the fringe roster guy that they had for like practices, and he became friends with Joel, and then. He killed us last year, and I was like, man, I would love to have this guy. And then I found out he was 28, and I was like, okay, that might be why the Pacers aren't crazy about him. But yeah, so we'll be back with we'll do a Patreon later this week, and then I guess we'll talk about Summer League. Because are you gonna? By the way, your Summer League team is fucking like. I feel like our GMs just were so busy doing moves in the offseason that they forgot about our Summer League team. Because we literally have like Phylon Broom, and then literally Duke Miles is the only player I've ever heard of. Your Summer League team is like literally 7 guys I've heard of before.
Yeah, like Amari Williams and
it's Caleb Grill, who we made fun of in the YKB Discord because he was like
taking the grill pill.
Well, basically what happened was occasionally you would see these boards that like float around on draft Twitter, and he would be like 17, and I'm like, he played 20 minutes a game and he's 25 years old. But it was also he graded out well in like Rap'em and all those whatever. Yeah. And
God, Brad Stevens is such a calculator.
And I looked at that and I was like, it's kind of unbelievable that he's even doing it with the Summer League.
It's so fucking bad, dude.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna look this up because No, I'm gonna look at your Summer League roster because I looked at the Summer League roster. Alondas Williams is another one that I remember.
I kind of like him, to be totally honest. But
I was gonna say because I saw him. I think he played for the Nets on a 2-way a few years ago, and I was like, I remember him from the draft. And then let's see.
This is only 8 hours old. I was gonna say I didn't see this. God,
Nick Pringle, who played with like 100 draft prospects over the years. You might remember him from Arkansas. He played at Arkansas and Alabama. So he's played like you've seen him play before because he's been with obviously I know Hugo and Mario and Williams. Then Milos
Chauncey Wiggins
And then Milos Uzan from Houston last year, who was not Kingston Flemings or Emmanuel Sharp, the third guard on that team. And he was the starting point guard when they made the Final Four 2 years ago. And he's on your team. And I was like, why do I know half of their summer league team? John Tonje.
Yeah, John Tonje, dude. Demon John Tonje. I'm more interested in some of these other guys. I want to see does Hank Morgan have a plan for me?
I just read that name. Like Day-Day Thompson is a sick name, and then I read Hank Morgan.
Yeah, does Hank Morgan have a plan for me? Maybe Day-Day Thompson is Chauncey Wiggins. That's by the way, that's your mom trying to buy you a jersey. And your grandma, and she goes online and gets you a Chauncey Wiggins Detroit jersey that you have to wear around.
Oh, I thought you wanted Chauncey Wiggins.
I thought you were a Chauncey Wiggins guy.
I got you an Aaron Wiggins Atlanta Hawks jersey because you said Andrew Wiggins on the Miami Heat was your favorite player.
Chauncey Wiggins. That's so awesome.
Unbelievable. That really does sound like a fucking soccer player ass name.
Yeah.
Chauncey Wiggins on the pitch.
Yeah. We've got Chauncey Wiggins. And he's through to Caleb Grill.
Before we get out of here, any thoughts on the World Cup?
This is so funny because like my entire video game friend group they're all footy guys and they love soccer. And so they're all just talking about it like so I just get all the secondhand like things, and I just like to say things that they were like, is this the furthest Switzerland's ever been? And I'm like, no, 2006, because I did have some footy things, so I'll just lie. I know like some things, but like, and so I do remember like their 2006 team like being like a really good like defensive masterclass, because a girl I went to high school with was very annoying about it because she does summer abroad in Switzerland and like wouldn't stop explaining this to us. And they're like, no, that's not true. And they look it up and it's like, it happened in 1954. And then I have to take positions like, okay, but like Switzerland wasn't a country in 1954. So you can't say that. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, it was part of the Vatican. And you just have to like dig in. Like, why do you think they call it the Swiss Guard? Like,
famously, Switzerland was never, in the news in World War II or anything for being neutral prior to 1954.
Here's my World Cup take. Okay, this is the only one I will give. And it really pains me to say it because I really don't want this to happen. Unfortunately, I think that England squad has kind of a ton of heart, and I think it might be coming home. It might be coming home. I don't want this to happen. No, I don't.
Mateo's going to kill you, by the way. He lived in England and is a huge English national soccer fan.
He's going to think I did this on purpose.
Yeah, he's 100% thinking that you're jinxing them right now.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm the most casual, not even like I watch the World Cup. Sometimes I watch the Euro Cup. I am not plugged into this shit at all.
Yeah.
But I will say, watching the game so far, I've come away with that vibe. Like, yeah, no, they have a good chance to win it. But every time it's felt like that before, it's been a disaster.
France is like the lock. Like it does seem like Mbappe kind of has like the late. Did you see the Mbappe? I like retweeted it, but somebody had a quote tweet of like, it's like Mbappe with like the pride flag over him, and he's got like the communist thing on him, and the quote tweet was, "Looked so hard, I didn't realize that this was supposed to be bad." like it was like a right winger like talking about it, and he just looks cool.
Yeah, tried to own him, but
he looks like woke Thanos, and it's like
yeah. Speaking of demons in multiple ways, what Argentina did yesterday was
they're the bad guys. Actually, they're probably a pretty good pick to win but this is the thing.
They're the Miami Heat, dude. Like for multiple reasons.
But the thing is, they have the sort of Damocles kind of hanging over them because Trump will probably say like, Lionel Messi, what it could be
one of the greatest we've ever seen.
Played with Miami, and my good friend, like whoever owns it, I don't know if owns the Miami team.
I don't think so, but close enough.
Owned by my good friend Charles Pedophile, who owns the Miami Heat. We love him, and they will immediately lose by 3 goals to whoever they're playing whenever he drops that liner. So that's the issue with Argentina. They're definitely the most evil team left in, and the most satanic. So like, they could also absolutely win.
No, fascism's been kind of cooking recently.
Yeah,
did you see my thing about how I said Belgium.
David Beckham owns Inter Miami. That's so funny.
Incredible.
Dude, he will say that. Trump will say that.
My good friend David
His
Beckham.
beautiful wife, Victoria.
He's
What
a
a
handsome
spice
guy.
girl. He's so
Named his-
handsome.
Named his child Brooklyn after my favorite place in the world.
Not as good as Queens. You should have named his child Queens. It's not as good.
Just did you see my message yesterday when I said
No.
Belgium Hitler before Hitler took down America, new Hitler in parentheses. But then today, hiding Hitler won and Argentina won.
Oh no, there's too many Hitler through
So
lines.
many Hitlers in the World Cup. It's truly unbelievable.
Again,
watching
that
it.
might be why it's coming home. Mateo's gonna be so mad at me, but I don't know. That was one of the best like sporting events I've ever seen.
Dude, the
And,
Mexico-England game was literally, and then
It
the
was
Argentina
cinema.
thing happened, and I was like, I don't even give a shit about the American team. We deserve to lose.
No, we should have lost.
Yeah,
No, that was like a rare moment of like, hey, maybe the world's okay that we didn't get away with cheating. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And everything else this country's gotten away with.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Anywho, all right, we're at 2:40, so let's get off.
We didn't even talk about anything. What are you even going to title this episode? Like
First off,
LeBron and stuff.
LeBron, Jaylen. I already have thought about it while we've been talking.
Okay.
LeBron's next team, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, trade fallout, the rest of free agency. which
This
I
is
have
the
in title.
biggest pastiche of an episode we've ever had, and it was fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes. We're perverts.
We're
This is
absolute
so funny.
perverts.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Peace. Thanks for joining, guys.